to the Hard Rock Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. Come on. And that is my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Thursday Night Hard Rockin' Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your live 3-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, welcome to Thursday night. And I look out the windows. It's dark. It's Thursday, and it's the fall. And, again, guys, thanks for tuning in, giving us a bit of your time. Hopefully you guys have had a good week. Mine's the same as always. It's like Groundhog Day. It's all the same, but we're out there. We're going to try to inform and entertain and all the stuff that we say we're going to do every week. So thanks for popping in. And let's lots to talk about this week. I'll run it down for you in a second. Let me just try to fix a couple things here. Let's see if I get this done right. I don't know if I can get this done right. Let's see. Pop that over there. But guys, let's see. So we're gonna start with we'll start with a little bit Yankees tonight. Well, wait for Jeff. I guess I'll have to pop that down and then bring that down and bring that back up because I want to get that in here. Okay. Anyway, so excuse me. I think I'm still sharing over there the Blog Talk. Let's bring Blog Talk back. That's got to be more. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we'll talk. We got a lot of stuff going on tonight. We're going to be competing with the two head-to-head presidential can't call it debates, debate town halls. You got Trump over on NBC tonight when they canceled the debate because they wanted to give Joe Biden the advantage and put him on a virtual, which we all know he would have been talking through earpieces and hand signals and all that other good shit. So Don Trump said, nope, you're out. So Biden has a town hall scheduled tonight. I think it's on C-SPAN or MSNBC. One of those. No, it might even be on. Oh, it's on ABC. I'm sorry. It's on ABC tonight. Hello, Rose. And but my man Donnie Boy is on channel. He's on NBC tonight in a dueling show. So it's going to be interesting to see what the, there's one thing I disagree with Trump on this. I would have left it alone because I would have given Biden the chance to have people see if they actually question him on not only the packing of the court. They got to ask the question. If you're ABC, I guess Stephanopoulos is doing it. If you don't ask the question, you look like a fool. So then it's, how does Biden answer the question? Point two, about this whole controversy with his son and the big tech sticking up for him basically and trying to bury the story. So I think Trump, you see, the thing is, I guess it really doesn't matter. If you're a Trump fan, you're watching Trump. If you're not a Trump fan, you're watching Biden tonight. I see you, Rose. I can't even imagine what you did to get yourself thrown in jail. My cousin Rose Florio out there. But I'm glad you're back out, and I'm glad you're commenting tonight. Thank you. At least somebody's paying attention. Who knows? Most times I don't know if anybody's watching. But listen. We're going up against that tonight. So let's see how that plays out. But guys, we got a lot to get to tonight's show. Let's see. First off, I want to wish my dad. Today is my dad's 72nd birthday. He'll be joining us soon. But happy birthday to my dad. I love him dearly. And, he's just amazing to have on every week. And I'm glad and so happy to still have him around. And he's, basically my best friend. He's the guy. The reason I do this. He gave me my love of sports and music from a very early age. So I thank my dad. But happy birthday! He'll be on in a few minutes. We'll talk a little baseball with my dad. Let's see. We're gonna do some Giants and Jets tonight. We got Chris Bisignano, who's a writer for the New York Giants Insider magazine. Chris is a Staten Island guy. We friends through a friend. But Chris will come on, and he's going to give us a little bit of background. We'll talk a little bit about the Giants tonight. And is it dismal? There it is. Big Lou Pika in the house. What's up, Big Lou? By the way, Lou's the impetus for the big interview tonight with Chris. We've had Chris on the show before. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Mr. Patty, the umpire, one of the best umpires, Hall of Fame umpire, checking in. One of these days, Patty's going to come on and let me interview him and talk sports and refereeing and umpiring. Patty, I gave him a lot of grief back in the day, but Patty was one of the best I ever got to play in front of. So thanks, Patty, for jumping in. But so we'll talk Giants and Jets. Not much to talk about the Jets, but we'll get some. Yankees lose Game 5. Oh, boy. Another disappointment. We'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about the NFL news and notes. Dak out for the season. Whitey Ford passes away. Mike Tyson, mental health. I don't know if anybody saw. No problem, Jeff. I don't know if anybody saw the Mike Tyson video. Boy, I can only hope he was tired. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. Le'Veon Bell wanted a trade and now got his trade. Got released. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the one solo Tony Iommi could not play. We'll talk about Jeff had a great thing this week about who's the next guitarist out there. Who's that next iconic guitarist? Kind of maybe the new one stepping up. Who's the iconic guy out there that will be the Eddie Van Halen type guy that passes away hopefully many years from now that will all mourn. And it's been a lot of mourning for the Eddie Van Halen one. So we'll get to that. Yes, I know Jets blow. I'll talk about the Yankees a little bit. So Jeff's not the biggest baseball fan or Yankee fan anymore. So I want to get a little baseball in now. Very disappointing by the Yankees, and here's why. Same thing. It's like Groundhog Day. Chapman blows another, opportunity in a game. Walk off with Chapman on the mound and he leaves the mound smiling. And I know it's not that he's happy, but it's that same look. And then now, yes, and Gay should be fired, as Big Luke said. But by the way, before I forget, guys, next week we got by Rick Ruhl, who's the lead singer for the Every Mother's Nightmare band. He'll be on next week. Also, Ross the Boss, who's a big Mets and Giant fan. Of course, Ross is famous for his days in Man of War. He'll be on next week. And we got Tommy John coming up. I wanted to get him on before the election. Unfortunately, his schedule doesn't allow it. So Tommy John will be on November the 6th. Tommy John back on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. And if anybody heard his first interview, I'm going to put it up there for people to see again. Boy, what a great interview Tommy was. And we're looking forward to having him back on. But here's the problem for the Yankees now. I'm almost sitting there. Does this team need to be overhauled? And I'll tell you why. Okay, the obvious first thing is Sanchez. I'm fed up. I'm done. I said it before the season. I'm tired of hearing about potential. Potentially he's the best hitter on the team. Potentially he's the best hitter on the team. He's a horrendous catcher. Horrendous. Okay, you saw the big difference in the Yankee staff with Higashioka catching. There's a reason why they give up a little bit of offense for defense, because guys like Tanaka can throw the pitch in the dirt. They can throw that pitch that the hitter can't hit, but may be tempted to swing at, and not have to worry that 3/4 of them are going to wind up at the backstop or bouncing far enough away that the hitter can take off. And pitchers know. Hitters know. They understand. They understand that they don't have to swing at that pitch that might be in the dirt because they're not going to throw it. He's not going to throw that pitch. So I'm tired. It's time to move on from Sanchez. Do they spend a ton of money in Romaldo or one of those kind of guys? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to. So that's going to be interesting how they change that. Now the next big question for me, Torres. No, I think Torres Gleyber Torres is a great bat. And he was good at second base. He's a bad shortstop. And I think, and I'm going to say that it affected him in the field this year. I'm sorry, at the plate. At the plate. I apologize. So I think it's time the Yankees are going to have to move Torres probably back to second base, which means probably playing LeMahieu if they're able to sign him. Now he's going to be up for a big pay increase. But if I'm the Yankees, I know he's 33. I'm not giving him a 7-year deal, but I'll give him a 3 to 4 year deal, maybe even 5, and pay him a little money early and try to get a better deal on the back end. Overpay him in the beginning. LeMahieu's got to come back. But, okay, either way, Torres has got to go back to second base, and they're going to have to find a shortstop. Now, I had no problem letting Didi go. I like Didi, but I didn't want to overpay for a shortstop, and I wanted Torres to have a chance. Now, maybe with a full off season, a regular spring training, maybe Torres turns into something. But from what I saw, he looks real stiff at shortstop. I don't know if you guys agree with me out there, Louis, Patrick, Patty. I don't know if you guys saw much of Torres and what you think, but I think he looked very stiff at shortstop. He should go back to playing second base. I think he did a nice job playing second. So we'll see. But, those are two interesting ones right there. But, guys, let's talk about the outfield. I mean, Gardner's got to come back because you need a guy like that on your roster, but he can't be your starter. He's got to come off. He's got to be your 4th or 5th guy. But, here's the big problem. And here's, again, what we always talked about. Stanton's going to be in the way. I have no problem with Judge, and we'll get to Judge in a minute, but Stanton can't be a regular outfielder because he doesn't play enough. I'd say save the legs, full-time DH, give him the spot start in the outfield here and there to kind of open that spot up for somebody else, and you're going to play him a little less because you want to try to keep him healthy for the season. Now, to be honest with you, I would actually hope that the Yankees could either trade him and eat a good part of his contract or outright out release him, but they won't. It's too much money, so I'm not going to go there. But at the end of the day, this guy is an impediment in the lineup. So now the problem with center field is this: I love Tauchman, but he didn't hit this year. Now I'm going to push I'm going to wipe the slate clean because I think this was a tough year for everybody. But Hicks got to stay healthy. One of these years, he just has to stay healthy. And if he doesn't, then that contract is blown. So, I don't want Gardner to be my full-time center fielder. I'd love it to be Tauchman, but he got to show me something, and Hicks has got to stay healthy. Okay? Urshela's has got a great glove, had made some nice plays. He's going to have to hit a little bit next year, a little more than he did this year, and stay healthy. The big thing is this right now. I'm going to start with Judge. My problem with Judge is the same one we've talked about. He's got to stay healthy. Now, again, the first injury, got hit on the second injury he had, it was 18, got hit on the wrist with a fastball. Listen, that can happen to anybody. But everything else is his leg, is side, is his shoulder. Again, Aaron Judge is a superstar in waiting. The guy could be easily the second, third best player in the game today. He's got all the tools. He's got everything. He's a Yankee right fielder. He could be the face of baseball. As much as Trout is the best player in baseball, whether it's his personality or the team he plays on or whatever, Mike Trout is not necessarily the face of baseball, and he should be. The guy's a great player, but Aaron Judge could easily slip right in there and be that guy. The problem right now for Aaron Judge is he just doesn't stay healthy, and then he comes back and it's strikeout or nothing. It's strikeout, a home run or nothing, and he needs to be much. Aaron Judge is close to a 5-tool player. I would say he doesn't have enough speed to be a 5-tool player, but the guy has the ability to be everything. But like Sanchez, it's time. This team is running out of that window. Now, again, it's still a fairly young team, but, I always say 4 or 5 years and teams are going to be turned over. Aaron Judge has got to put it together next season. He's got to come in, stay healthy, and if that means DHing a little bit more, give him a couple days off a week, if that's what it takes, whatever it takes. This Yankee team is in that window of, I don't know. I like Voit, 22 homers in 60 games. Another guy that spends a little too much time on the injured list. And I'm not crazy about him at first base. And I think right now you may see LeMahieu play first base next year. It's possible. Because what do you do with Torres if you don't? You're going to trade him? You're going to release him? What are you going to do with Torres? And I don't see him coming to camp, at least without another option. So this Yankee team, disappointing. Now, again, this is a tough year, but I expected more out of this team. I thought the pitching staff was good. Garrett Cole was everything you could want in a big game pitcher. He came, he threw, he dominated, he beat the teams he was supposed to. I thought Garrett Cole was as advertised. I thought Tanaka was okay. You had spot starts from, you had some spotty work from Montgomery. I thought the young kids, Garcia I thought Garcia should have started game 2. I would have let him start that game. I thought that was Judge Boone's biggest mistake. Of course, everybody's blowing him up on it. I think it almost cost him his job, to be honest with you. I think it almost cost him his job. But, again, having said that, let me get my dad on real quick. Having said that, let's get right down. Let's talk a little Yankee baseball before we got Chris Bisignano from the Giant Insider coming up at 7 o'clock. We got plenty of sports and music for you guys tonight. Remember, check us out on hardrockandsports.com. Go to our YouTube page. Please go to our YouTube page and sign in, please. That's always a big thing for us. And like I said, make sure we got plenty of guests come up the next few weeks. And go out and vote, folks. Go out and vote. Hold on, and get my dad on. What's up, Pop? Happy birthday.
Thank you. How's everything by you?
Everything's good over here, Pop. I'm kind of reeling in about the Yankees a little bit for next year. I kind of was breaking down what, here's my quick take, Pop. Get rid of Sanchez. Let's move on in the catching department. I think you got to move Torres back to second base, and then you need to find out who's going to be healthy to play center field. That's my quick start right now. What are your thoughts on the Yankees for next year?
Well, I think with Sanchez, I think if they leave him alone and let him go back to the way he was, because a lot of this, I think, has to do with him catching, because he's not a good catcher.
No.
By any means. But they try to make him into a different kind of a framing catcher.
Mm-hmm.
That's not his thing. And I think as he started making mistakes with balls getting away from him, it was affecting his hitting. And that's why I think if you just leave this kid alone, because when he first came up, he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Yogi Berra or anybody to the Johnny Bench,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a decent catcher, and he was a pretty good hitter. But now it's everything but a home run. And the same thing with Voit. That's Voit's problem.
Yeah.
He had 22 home runs,
Mm-hmm.
and I granted. But with Voit, it was either a home run or nothing. They never went the opposite way.
Right.
I think Voit, I don't know what they want to do with him, but like you said, I think they should take, what's his name, put him on first.
Yeah.
Torres, he's not a good shortstop.
Nope, I agree. Put him.
He belongs on second base.
I agree with you. Well, you're gonna listen. If you're gonna fix this team, Dad, you're gonna have to go get a shortstop. Now, I don't know if they have anybody in the minors. Nobody that I've seen or heard. I think the idea of this team thought that Torres would be the full-time shortstop the next 10 years. I didn't see it this year. Now again, maybe it was the way the season went, and maybe just didn't have enough playing time in spring training. I have no idea, but I think they're gonna have to go get themselves a shortstop. And I'm sorry, I've had it with Sanchez. I think it's time to move on. He's due to get like a $5 million increase next year. I would not bring him back. I'd move on.
I understand what you're saying, and I feel like, but I also, if they would just stop trying to make this team into something that it's not, okay? Leave Sanchez alone. Let him go back to being a regular catcher. I mean, when Posada first came up, he was all hitter, and he was a terrible catcher. And he got better as the years went on because they let him play. They let him play himself, and he was able to improve himself.
Yeah, but that you guys been around a while. He's not gotten better as a catcher. He's just not gotten better.
Yeah, because they keep trying to change him. They try to make him a sophisticated catcher. He's framing it. I never understood how an umpire, if I was an umpire behind the plate, I would tell the catcher, the minute you try to frame that ball, you're telling me it's not a strike. The minute you move that glove, that means it wasn't a strike, and you're trying to show it to me. And I never understood how an umpire can let a catcher tell him what it is.
Yeah,
and that's what he's doing. He's taking the ball that's low, bringing it up high. Taking it high, bringing it low.
I got you. Hard Rocket Sports 347-826-9934 is on the radio side. Simulcast here on the live stream on the Hard Rocket Sports Facebook page. Thanks for popping in. Speaking of popping in, I do see Jeff hanging in. So let's get the co-host of the Hard Rocket Sports show on, Mr. Jeff Talwinski. Hey, gentlemen, let's go. What's up?
How are you? Hey, happy birthday, Mr. Florio. How are you?
Thank you, Jeff.
What's going on?
Oh, we're just talking right now. Not much, Jeff. We're just talking a little Yankees, trying to figure out what to do with the Yankees for next year, and so we're just.
Well,
Go ahead.
one thing we know, they definitely shouldn't hire Adam Gase. That's for damn sure.
He's already there, Daddy. He's already blasting it.
The worst team I've ever seen, and they even at least the Giants are showing little by little they're breaking out of that. You know, you can see the improvement in their offensive line and their defensive line. The Jets are pathetic. I mean, who the hell is doing that? I don't understand. Who's doing that scouting for them?
I'll let Jeff answer that one.
Jeff,
Well, I don't know. I don't work for the Jets. I mean, not for nothing. I understand it's your birthday, but you're ripping all over the Jets. Meanwhile, the Giants are 0-5. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference, right, Pop? The difference with the Giants is you can see there's improvement with the Giants. If
the season ended tomorrow, the commissioner would call them second to make a pick, and
it doesn't matter. But there is.
It does matter when there's 32 teams in the league.
Stop.
They suck. Look at what they did last Sunday against the Dallas Cowboy team that has no defense.
Yeah,
their fucking number one quarterback who left his foot someplace on the fucking turf.
Wow. Le'Veon Bell signs with the Kansas City Chiefs. Thanks to Big Lou, who's quickly turning into the producer of the Hard Rock and Sports Show. But Dad, I agree with you, Dad. While the Giants are not a good team right now, you can see signs the defense is not playing terrible. They're learning. It's getting better. Offensively, there's still work to be done, but you see some improvement on this team. We're going to get to Chris Bisignano when he pops up about 7:00, and maybe Chris will set Jeff straight, Dad.
Ain't anybody gonna set me straight. I know a team that sucks when I see them. When they're 0-5, they suck.
Thanks.
Say hello to your family for me. And Tommy, I'll see you tomorrow.
You got it, Pops. Happy birthday. I love you very much. I'll see you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow.
That's my dad checking in on his birthday, Jeff. Can't beat that.
No. Well, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it. This is something else that can't be beat either.
That's any
team the Giants are playing.
Oh, boy. Do you have notes this week?
I don't need notes this week.
You don't need
notes?
I
can't wait for your boy to come on.
Well, not my boy. Listen, he may agree with you more than he agrees with me. I have no idea. This is not me bringing on one of my guys. I don't know Chris any better than you do. So, but we'll get to that. I want to get to some different stuff tonight. We got. I want to talk to Jeff about the one song Tony Iommi couldn't play a solo for. I want to talk about Billboard Music Awards horrendous tribute to Eddie Van Halen. I want to talk about Jeff. You actually put up a really cool post this week, and I didn't jump in because there were so many people involved in it about who's the next guitar player. Now, it could have been interpreted in a lot of different ways. I think you had to explain it to a couple people what you were looking for, and it was I thought you were looking for who's that next young guitar player to make his noticed.
Thank God you were the one that you noticed that. I wish that you said something because there was one fucking idiot who used to be a member of the Hard Rock and Sports Band that I was arguing with tooth and nail until I finally said something, and then she went away.
Oh yeah, because she. Well, you knew where she was going to go.
Yeah, but why am I going to pick Jimmy Page as the new face of music? Or who's going to take Jimmy Page? Is like 75 years old.
Jimmy Page hasn't been relevant in 30 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay,
yeah. I knew exactly where you were headed. I knew exactly what you wanted.
Zach Wilde, all of these people, but I'm like, no. They can't even fill the void of these three guys.
Well, first of all, again, what I thought was you were looking for that younger guitar player to step out in front. I don't consider Zach Wilde or three-quarters of the people they were throwing out there as either as anybody who could be even remotely as influential as Eddie Van Halen, or be that young guy to change things next. I just wasn't there.
No, of course not. None of them are.
Right.
None of them are. I mean, they said everybody from Jeff Beck to Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai, and I'm like, these people have been around for 30 years, and even though they're good, they can't be mentioned in the same breath.
No. Again, and listen, we're going to get more into it probably about 7:30 right now. Chris Bizignano just popped up. I want to get him right on, but Jeff, again, it's the question is who's that next guy who changes the game or makes like Van Halen was a guy who it was pop culture, was hard rock. Your parents knew who Eddie Van Halen was. Your kids know who Eddie Van Halen was. He's a huge thing in our generation, even if you're not a big hard rock fan. That's the guy, who's that next one? And I don't know if there's one out there, but we're going to get to that. We're definitely going to get to that because I think that was a great post that 90% of the people, I think most of the people that I read part of that post had no clue what you were looking for.
No. I would say more than 90%. I would say almost all of them.
Yeah.
Overlooked what I was trying. But you know what? I went back several times, by the way, and read the statement that I made. Mm-hmm. And I could see how some people maybe misconstrued what I was saying, but you caught the gist of it.
Oh, yeah. I did. But by the time I really kind of got into the thing, you had so many people commented on it that I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay out of it because you
were better off.
Yeah. I just knew that at the end of the day, it wasn't gonna go well. I wasn't gonna get in there, but let me just do a little housekeeping, and then we're gonna get to Chris Bizignano. Hard Rocket Sports 347-826-9934 is the phone number to call in. We're talking sports, we're talking music every Thursday night, 6:30 to 9:30, right here on the Hard Rocket Sports Network. And check us out on our Facebook page, our website, hardrocketsports.com, and of course our YouTube page every week. Let me play a little something right here.
Hey, this is Big George Foreman, and you're listening to Hard Rockin' Sports. Don't you change.
Hi, this is Gazer Butler, and you're listening to Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom.
I can say right now, I can say, this is Joe Satriani. You are listening to Hard Rockin' Sports Radio with Tommy and Jeff. Go Jets.
Hey, Rock fans, Mark Scott from Trickster, hanging out with my good buddies, old Jeff and Tom right here. Oh, Hard Rockin' Sports, you listen, crank it up.
That's right. We're back, Hard Rocket Sports. Again, 347-369-934 is the phone number. Jeff and Tom hanging out with you all tonight, Thursday night. Guys, hope you have a great weekend. Remember, Tommy John coming up in a couple of weeks. Of course, X-Man of War, and got his own gig. I think it's what band's that? Man, I can't think of the band that he's going out with right now that he's going to be promoting next week. So make sure you check out. Guys, go vote. Make sure you vote. November 3rd, go vote. But let's get right to our special guest of the night, Mr. Chris Bizignano. He is a writer for the Giants Insider magazine, and he joins us again on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Hey, Chris, welcome back.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good. Chris, Tom, and Jeff here. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time tonight.
For having me on. Before we start with some football, there's no Eddie Van Halen out there. I can tell you that right now. I want to see the guy that's the next Eddie Van Halen.
Chris, we did a little tribute last week to Eddie, and Jeff and I are huge fans. It's the kind of guy got me listening. I went from listening to the Cars to listening to hard rock because of Eddie Van Halen. But Jeff makes a great point. Who's that young guy who's changing the game? Who's that iconic guy now who makes the world stop for a minute? God forbid they're passing. I don't see that guy, even though there's some great ones out there, who's the guy who transcends all the different genres like Eddie did? What do you think? Is that one person out there?
No, that's why I don't see it, man. Look, I'm in the 70s guy, you had Jimmy, the two Jimmy Page, Hendrix, all that stuff in the early, late 60s. And then the guy named Randy Rose was coming on the scene in the 80s, and we all know what happened to him.
Yeah.
And then Eddie, of course, Van Halen, late 70s, 80s, he changed it around. I just don't see it, man. I do not see anybody out there that's going to say, okay, boom, he changed it. I don't see it. Unless I'm missing somebody, I don't see it, boys.
No. Yeah. Jeff, go ahead. You say something, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm a little upset with the way the conversation's going. I think that you guys are talking how bad the Giants are and trying to fill the void with talking
Chris, we're going to get started.
Get right to it, man. I'm salivating here.
Chris, Jeff is a supposed Jet fan who really just hates the Giants. So he just, no matter what they do. So we'll just take that with a grain of salt when you get started. I'm going to go first. So here we go. Chris, here's the thing. We all know the Giants are 0-5, so I'm going to go right to it. I think as a Giant fan, now maybe I'm seeing this through rose-colored glasses, and Jeff's going to say I am. I see this team
You're
is
not even
better.
wearing glasses when you see this, man.
The Giants are a better team this year than they were last year, and there are moments when this team shows that they're getting better. You, as a guy who I'm assuming is a Giant fan for a while, and you cover this team, now for the magazine, how do you see this team before Jeff comes in with his nastiness?
Okay, well, I tell you what, I don't see him better offensively. No way. I am not happy at all with what Jason Garrett's doing. Believe it or not, and we all know Sherman's not a head coach. He proved it twice.
Mm-hmm.
But his offense was better than Jason Garrett's. And guys like Evan Ingram will be the first to tell you that, although they'll never tell you that. Now, we look at Daniel Jones last year, 28 touchdowns, 12 picks. 24 touchdowns, 12 picks. Turnovers was the issue. We all know that. But you look at him this year, he hasn't been the same guy. He's regressed a little bit this year. No question about it under this offense. All right, so as far as a better team, okay, some more attention to details. Yeah, we'll give you that because that's from Judge. You know what I mean? But I can't honestly say right now, okay, this is a better team this year than last year because, yeah, they were in some games at the end, played some teams that had no right maybe being into a last possession where they could win or tie a game. But I got to be honest with you, I can't right now say, hey, this is a better team than last year. No, I can't.
Okay, Jeff, you're smiling, Jeff. I'm going to let you jump in and go for it. Go ahead.
Well, let me ask you something, Tom, and Chris, you can answer also, of course. You're telling me that Jones is getting better through 5 games. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes all season. Now, the only way I don't understand where is he getting better?
He's pointing that at me, Chris. He's throwing that at me, and he's gonna want you to jump in.
I'm sorry, I thought he said that to me. Okay.
Yeah,
no, I want you to jump in. I want you to weigh in on it too. But Tommy, believe me and Tommy have these battles all day long. I start as early as I can. If I think he's up at 6:30 in the morning, I start at 6:30 in the morning. But my question to you, Tommy, and I want Chris to reiterate, is Jones, you say that he's doing better. The guy's thrown 2 touchdown passes in 5 games. This offense is horrendous. Where are they going right? Where are they progressing?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that. In my opinion, watching him, it's not about the outcome. I'm just watching the mechanics of it. Do I think that he is an elite quarterback? Absolutely not. Do I think he's gotten better than last year? Probably not. I blame that a little bit on basically another system, another coach, no off season, new offensive line, players, receivers in and out that he didn't get a chance to work with. I do see a better, almost just more in control. Now, again, the outcome has not been great, but I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in this league, and I just don't understand how people automatically now are looking to get rid of this guy. They're forgetting the first 3 years of Eli Manning. My opinion, Chris, you can.
Yeah, please, Chris. You're on the board.
Okay, me?
Yeah, Chris, please. Yeah.
Okay, so listen, anybody saying they should get rid of him is ridiculous. Okay, the kid's, he's just a kid. He's only played 17 games. I mean, so anybody, to say, oh, he's our franchise guy. Oh, you got to move on. Let's think Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, that's ridiculous. But he has to start eliminating mistakes that he's made in the first 17 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He's doing some of the stuff over and over again. Now, you look at him and say, okay, now all fair points, Tommy. No off season, new system. And you forgot one thing too, Tommy. Wow. The offensive line hasn't gotten better at all. Okay?
Again, agreed.
Dave Gettleman has failed in his 3rd year as a general manager to build an offensive line in front of this kid. And you look at the tape, every game, he's running for his life half the time. If it wasn't for his legs, they'd be giving up 6-7 sacks a game. Trust me on this. I look at every play, okay, over and over. All right, so that's all factored in. Now, some of the decision-making has to be better, okay? Some of the decisions he's made this year, not too good. He has to read defenses a little bit better. He locks it on his first reads a lot. Okay? All stuff that he could get better at. Turnovers, we all know the issue there. Okay? So to give up on him now, and people, I have heard that buzz. Oh, maybe we have to move on. Trevor Lawrence, if we finish first. That's ridiculous. The kid has the talent, but he has to start progressing. Because you know what, Tommy? After the end of the season, and it's the same stuff, he showed flashes, but he had these turnovers. You have to start saying to yourself, well, is he a franchise quarterback? But right now, we're not really at that point. It's always a team thing. There's always so many factors that's involved in this. But one thing, hey, offensive line, it's still not better.
I'll disagree with you a little bit there, Chris. I don't think this is a great offensive line, but they're already running the ball better than they have probably in the last 2 years.
Really?
And I thought the last 3-4 games it's been better. Again, I'm going to cut them a little slack. There was no offseason. Yeah, that's the one unit that you got to have some cohesion. You got to be able to gel together. And I don't think these guys have a chance. Now, I don't know why they're playing. They're playing the right tackle. What's his name? Cam Fleming. There he is. I think he's been horrendous, and I haven't been crazy about Zeitler, but you got to play him. And don't forget, you have a guy who's played 5 games at center, in his whole life. This team needs some time. So I'm with you. It's not been great, but I think it's gotten a little bit better in the run game. I don't like the pass game. They have not given this kid a clean pocket all year. So I agree with you on that.
Think about what you're saying. You got a bunch of guys that have never played before, playing out of position, and you keep saying that they're getting better. Saquon Barkley couldn't fucking run no matter what. What he did, the guy was averaging like 0.2 yards a game. He sucked.
Again, my that's all. It was 8 guys in the box, and he didn't have a chance in the blessed day of night to even get started back there. Okay, I agree, Chris. I got you. So let's
leading them in rushing yards the last couple weeks, if I'm correct, and that's your quarterback. Yeah, and he ain't doing dick anyway with the ball. Look, as long as the Giants win one more game than the Jets, I'm happy. That's all I care about.
Chris, Chris, now you brought up Gettleman, and I know it's Jeff's favorite topic. What's the whispers? I mean, does this team have a win total? Is it based on how this team looks? Are there whispers that his job is on the line?
No, there's no whispers yet. But John Mara last year in his end of the year presser kind of put Gettleman on notice. Okay, he made a few statements where you could read between the lines with John. Being around John Mara a lot, you could read between the lines with him pretty quick, and he put him on notice, no question about it. And look, the way this season is going, you're looking at a 3-win season here. Maybe. Okay. So is that progress? I don't know. Now here's the hit. Look, Tommy, Jeff, this is what's going to come down to. Okay. When you're a general manager and you draft a so-called franchise quarterback, you're going to be attached at the hip with the franchise quarterback. So if Daniel Jones keeps playing like he's playing now, and the Giants win 2 games, 3 games, Gettleman's gone. Okay. Because he hasn't built he hasn't built a team. Look at the drafts. I mean, how many impact guys he had? Okay, Saquon Barkley, he was out last year with the high ankle. He was never himself. Okay, he was out a few games. He was never himself. This year he's gone. Okay, other than that, so you got the franchise quarterback. Okay, now is he a franchise quarterback? We'll see at the end of the year. We'll find out more at the end of the year.
Oh, you get buried, man.
It's a 3-win team. He's gone, Gettleman. He's gone. Well, how are you going to bring him back?
But I'll disagree a little bit with you, Chris, because I think not only there's impact players all over this team that I think if you let's put it this way, I won't say impact players. There are guys getting on the field early on this team. Guys, okay, Thomas got thrown in, no choice. But Gates, there's a guy he pulled in. He started a tackle last year a couple times. Now he's the starting center. I love the Blake Martinez signing. I think Fackrell's been okay. The guys in the middle with Tomlinson. Lawrence, these are good plays. Bradbury signing is a good signing. I think bringing Peppers over was good. I'm not necessarily crazy about the trade. I think he's done a lot of good stuff, but the bad stuff has been horrendous. And that's the problem for Gettleman is that stuff has been, the stuff that's been bad has been really bad.
Yeah, but what good has he actually done? What has he done to improve the team? They've gotten worse every year that he's been.
No, I disagree with that. This team's gotten better than it was.
They're 0-5, bro. They're 0-5.
Again, it's not all about. You got to watch the games.
No. You don't play football to say that we progressed and went 0-16. You play to win games and try to win the fucking Super Bowl. This guy can't win shit. He can't win the cereal bowl, and you know it.
I disagree with that. But okay, listen, we'll move on because we're not going to agree on that one. Chris, you wrote something after the Niner game in your October 18th issue where you wrote, after the Giants lost to the Niners, you wrote, what is the strength of this team? Do you still feel that way? Do you still feel at this point that the Giants don't have a strength?
Well, think about it. What is the strength? Maybe the defensive line a little bit. What is the strength of this team?
Well, I don't think the team's been bad on defense. I think, I tell you the truth, since the Niner game.
Tommy, you missed. Look.
Go ahead.
You missed what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying the Giants have been horrific in every area.
Okay.
Every area of. I'm not saying that. The defense has played much better under Patrick Graham this year.
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay.
They're 8th in the league in defense right now. I mean, that's like quite an accomplishment from what they've been the last few years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But to look at it and say, okay, what is the real strength of this team? Well, what is it?
Well, again, the strength of the team would be the defense. I'm not saying it's not the 85 Bears or the 86 Giants, but the strength of this team right now, to me, they've played pretty good games against the Rams. They played pretty good games against the Bears. I'm not saying they're all world at this point, but this is not a bad defense.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Tommy. I thought we were looking at a position group. Okay, all right. So the defense has been pretty good. Yeah, no question about it. The defense has been much better. And one of the reasons why you have to give Dave Gettleman credit here is because he brought in a Blake Martinez. He brought in a Bradbury. Guys like that have been they've been real solid for the Giants. Real solid. So Gettleman gets credit for some of these free agent signings. You know what I mean? The problem with Gettleman's been the draft.
Yes.
Okay? He's drafted some nice guys, but Tom, you need impact guys to win in this league.
No, I'll agree with you.
You need impact. He hasn't done that, okay? But he's had some nice free agent signings. But as far as the strength, I'm sorry, Tommy. I think you make you look at one group and say, okay,
no. Listen, right now there is no. I would agree with you there. There has been no group on this team, whether it's offensive line, defensive line, linebackers. Linebackers are probably the closest thing to an impact because of Blake Martinez. That's probably been the closest thing, but they're not. I would not even call them impactful at this point.
No, listen, Blake's been he's been solid. Blake is look. I mean, he's been the best linebacker the Giants have had in a while, and he's only played 5 games with us.
Yes,
no question, right?
Yeah, no question.
Does that not show how bad this team is that you're saying?
You talk about a group. Lorenzo Carter was a kid that was really coming on a little bit this year. Now he's done.
Yeah.
Look, guys up front, they've been pretty good. Leo Williams has been pretty good. Dexter Lawrence has been pretty good. The defense has been pretty decent. Look, they have a major hole. They have a major hole opposite of Bradbury. Okay, they're on their third corner now.
Yeah.
Okay. They took a hit when McKinney got hurt because that kid in camp looked phenomenal.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then Peppers, Peppers goes down. Peppers is all right. He plays. He's pretty solid. And of course, the Logan Ryan was another good signing by Ghetto, and Logan's played pretty good for us. So that's a pretty look. You can look at that unit and say, okay, hey, we're doing some things. But obviously, the problem is what? The offense. That's the offense is the problem.
Yeah.
And part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff.
How could you praise somebody and saying he's the best linebacker that you've had with only 5 games on the team under his belt? That goes to show to me the sorry ass state that this team is in. That you're praising a guy after 5 career games with a team and saying he's the best linebacker you've had. That this team has been horrendous. And at 0-5, they're not as bad as the Jets, that are maybe the worst team in the NFL at this point in time, but they're pretty damn close. Don't you think?
I don't. I think the Giants are light years ahead of the Jets. But Chris, you can jump in.
They're 0-5, bro. Where is the light years?
Well, this is what I've been saying about how bad, how bad the drafts have been and stuff like that. That we bring in a guy from, Blake Martinez, and he's been our best linebacker in years. This is part of the reasons why this team has been like the way they've been for years.
Yeah.
Bad drafting.
No, I won't disagree with that. Again, Hard Rocket Sports 347-826-9993 and 4. Jeff and Tom talking with Chris Bizignano, giving us a little bit of his time. Remember, guys, come back next Thursday night. We got plenty more to go tonight. But next Thursday night, Ross the Boss joins Jeff and I, and again, Tommy John coming up in a couple of weeks. So check out hardrocketsports.com for more information on upcoming shows and guests. Chris, I want to ask you about a couple of things. I got to ask you this. It kind of went under the radar, and I'm going to assume it was an injury thing, but did the Giants give up too quick on on Connolly, the linebacker? He had a great year last year before. Well, I can't say a great year. He was progressing really well before he got hurt. I was excited about him coming back and getting the chance to play with Blake Martinez, and then all of a sudden he's gone and picked up the next day by the Vikings, although he hasn't played much there. What was is that totally just an injury situation?
Nah, you know what? He was close to 100% when he was released at the end of camp. He was getting there. He was almost at 100%. But you know what? He just didn't fit what Judge and Patrick Graham was looking for. I mean, look, it was a surprise.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
When he was cut, when he was released, we were all shocked. We were all shocked.
Yeah.
But you see, like Tate Crowder that's in there now.
Yeah.
The Carter Coughlin that you'll be seeing more of, the Cam Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they're versatile linebackers. They can play inside, outside. This is what athletic guys. This is what Graham and Judge are looking for.
Right.
Okay. He didn't just quite fit.
But
The guy that the linebacker they're looking for. That's what happened.
But that goes against Blake Martinez. Blake Martinez is not an outside guy. That's a guy who's an inside guy, a tackling machine. But so that kind of goes. So was it? They didn't want two of those guys on the field at the same time. Is that basically what it was?
Yeah, they wanted more versatility.
Got it.
And you know what? Listen, Conley was a nice linebacker, but but Martinez is a sideline. Martinez is a 140 tackle guy. Yeah.
Oh.
Conley's not in his group.
No, agreed. No, I agree with you on that.
And he's, but they decide. Look, from what I understand, they like Conley. Don't get me wrong, but they like the new kids better. They wanted more versatile kids. They wanted more versatile. What I mean by kids is rookies. These new guys that are going to take Crowders.
Mm-hmm.
But then they look. You're going to see a lot more Carter Coughlin and Cam Browns now with the injuries on the outside, and that's all. They're looking for a certain type of guy, and they wanted to go in that direction.
I got to put this one on it because this guy helped me get you on this week. Louis Peak is asking me to say, what's up with his Notre Dame boy, Julian Love, 0 snaps on D? Why can't Julian Love get on the field?
Well, you know what, Tommy?
Go ahead.
He was on the field, and he played his way off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, last year I was going crazy. Like, why isn't this kid playing? And then when he finally got on the last 5 games, he started playing. He looked pretty decent. He looked pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this year, this year he was there, and he kind of played his way right now off the field with his play. So that's where we're at with Julian Love right now. So look, that missed assignment on that Cooper Kupp touchdown.
Oh, horrendous.
That was Julian Love all the way.
Yeah.
All right.
I know Logan Ryan took the heat for that. Logan Ryan came out and took the heat for it, but I think everybody saw that it was that was
No, trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. That was Julian Love. Look, Patrick Graham, he's on with us on Zoom once a week. Judge is on with us basically every day. And they're never going to admit that.
Yeah.
They're never going to say, Love didn't get all, but it was Love all the way on that Cooper Kupp touchdown, and he hasn't played since. So
yeah.
They're kind of getting a little. They kind of got a little fed up with what Love production was and what he was doing progress wise, and he decided to go in another direction.
You brought up Xavier McKinney, and I thought that was the steal of the draft for the Giants. I thought that kid was an easy first rounder. I thought that was a great pick. Got hurt early in the camp, obviously, but what's the prognosis? Have you heard? Is he going to be back soon? Is he going to be back at all?
Well, they're talking around Thanksgiving. That's the timetable right now. That's what they hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it could always be progress in that, or there always could be a little setback.
Sure.
But they're eyeing up right around the Thanksgiving date, right around that time. I'm not sure who they play right around that weekend, but that's what they're eyeing up right now.
Okay, Jeff, you got something?
Look, you want to see the guy get out there for the last 4 or 5 games because I'm telling you, man, Tommy, I'm telling you, he's one of those kids that's always around the ball, man. I was watching him in training camp. He was breaking up plays in training camp. The kid is just, like he was in Alabama,
Yeah.
sort of. You know, the kid's just always around the ball. He's a playmaker, and look, he was going to be a big part of this team, man.
Yeah.
It was going to be him and Peppers back there. You know,
I was excited for it.
Hurt, so.
To be honest with you, I was very excited for it. I wanted him to play. I wanted him to get on the field early, and I wanted him to play with Peppers out there because I think that's a good pairing. It frees up Peppers to do a little bit more than instead of being the guy in the back. Peppers playing closer to the line. I thought it would be a great tag team out there, but it didn't materialize. Well, let's hope for he gets back and we get him on the field for 4 or 5 games, like we said. Talk about the young wide receivers. This team. I love Slayton. He's not a number one at this point. I don't know if he's the home run hitter they need. Tate and Shepard interchangeable. They're number 2 guys, slot guys, in my opinion. Is there another guy in this roster who could step up and maybe be a number 1 or add to that group? Because I haven't seen it so far.
Nope. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Nope, not at all. Like you said, Slayton hasn't. Look, Slayton's not. You can't say, "Hey, we got our number 1 with Slayton."
No.
He's not. You can't look at him and say he's the number 1. Like look, they really miss Shep. Shep could do a lot of things. They miss him on. But like you said, like him and Tate are just like 2 slot guys that won't. They'll play outside, one play, the other guy's in the slot. All that. So they don't have a true number 1 receiver on this roster. That's something that they're gonna have. That's something they're gonna have to get for this Jones kid, man.
Yeah.
So
well,
down the road, So
yeah.
Right now, no, there's nobody on this.
Well, let me, Jeff, jump in a second. Let me just ask this one. But I love Shepard, and I think his draft pick has been good. He's done a nice job, but he hasn't stayed healthy. He's a guy who just cannot stay healthy. Yeah. At some point, it's time to move on to others. I mean, is there any whispers? Is there any talk of the guy can't stay healthy? We got to, is there any talk behind the scenes with the Giants about Shepard and his future with this team?
No. Look, they love Shep. They love everything he brings to the table in the organization, the locker room, and all that. But like you said, between the concussions, and now this year it's the toe. He can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's not on the field much. And look, this is a production league, man. You got to be on the field.
Yeah, here's the thing. We already came in, and myself included, I fell into it. This team has a lot of talent on the offensive end with potential talent with Barkley, with Ingram, with the 3 wide receivers, with Jones, and it hasn't appeared. It just has not appeared so far. So that's one thing that I dropped the ball on this team. Ingram has not lived up to it. This is this could be a huge offseason for the Giants and their offense.
Tommy, I was the first one to say this is going to be a huge year for Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Huge. Mm-hmm. But you look, are you going to – last year when Evan Ingram got hurt, he was on pace for over 80 catches.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This year he's doing 5-yard curls, flat routes. I mean, it's not all – I know Evan Ingram likes to be the punching bag for a lot of Giant fans. But you look at what they're doing in offense. Yeah. I broke it down the other day. I put it on Twitter, all the routes he ran, okay, against the Cowboys. He ran 4 seams. He did numerous curls, some flats. He's max protecting. He's not being used right in Jason Garrett's offense, okay? So I know everybody, Evan Ingram, everybody's always down on Evan Ingram. I understand it. He has drops and all that, but he's not being used right. This guy should be having a big year, okay? He should be much more used in his offense. He's not. It's ridiculous what's going on with him, the way Garrett's using him, okay? This isn't Jason Witten with the 5-yard curls, the 5-yard digs. Witten was so smart getting in zones and finding openings. Ingram is way more athletic. He should be getting used way more in different ways. And that's all on Jason Garrett, man. It's ridiculous what's going on with Evan Ingram this year. It really is.
I agree. Yeah, Jeff.
That whole entire offense, everything. Now, I'm not a Giant fan, and I hope that they go fucking 0-16 for the next 35 years. I really do.
Here we go.
I got more for you later when he gets off. Don't you worry, Tommy boy. But in all seriousness, their offensive line is bad. Daniel Jones is not progressing. They have issues all over the place. How are these guys supposed to get better when there's not one unit that goes on the field? Receivers, backs, linemen, whatever, that could excel and help another unit. It doesn't seem to be happening for this team.
Yeah, Jeff, there's a lot of holes in this roster, brother. This roster needs an loaded upgrade of talent. No question about it. No, I'm not going to argue with you, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you look, it all starts with offensive line within offense, right? It all starts up front, and they just haven't played well. Okay, they can't. Their pass pro is not good at all. Even when Saquon was in there, they couldn't run the ball. And now, like Tommy, to Tommy's credit, the last few weeks they've shown a little improvement, no question about it, right? No, a little improvement, but they're still 30th in the league in offense, 31st. They still only had 300 yards on Dallas, who couldn't stop probably Tottenville High School in Staten Island. Okay, so it's like, okay, it's a little improvement, but now they're going to face a team Sunday that's loaded up front. Okay, loaded up front.
Yeah.
So what happens Sunday? Are they going to run the ball Sunday? Are they going to pass pro against guys like Sweat and Chase Youngs and Landry and all these guys up front? I don't know. We'll see. But right now, Jeff's right, man. What do you look at? There's 100 holes on this team.
Listen, I agree that offensively that this team has not been as good as I hoped. I blamed it a lot on the lack of an offseason, but we'll see. But as far as Sunday goes against the Redskins, and by the way, Chris, on this show, we say Redskins. You could say it any way you want. Washington football team. What?
Yeah, I still say it too.
Yeah, we called the Redskins. I could care less at this point, but this is a tough. People are pointing this as the Giants are going to win. The Giants should win. This is not a great matchup for the Giants for exactly the reason you guys are bringing up. Can they can rotate 4 or 5 guys on that Redskin defensive line. And as bad as the Redskin defense is, the Giants are not good enough offensively. I'm sorry, offense. Yeah, the Redskin offenses. The Giant defense is. I don't know if it's good enough to exploit that, but the Redskin defense is a killer, and I fear for Daniel Jones this week.
Well, you're absolutely right, Tommy. I mean, if the Giants are going to win this game, in my opinion, their defense is going to have to set them up with some turnovers.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a 17-13 game or a 16-10 game. Because, like you said, look, they got Kendall Fuller back the last few games of the Redskins. He's solidifying that one corner spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He had a nice little pick last week against Jared Goff. And these guys up front, and this is without Matt Ioannidis. He's been out.
Yeah.
And they're still these guys up front, that's a total mismatch against the Giants' offensive line right
100%. Again, it's a huge mismatch based on how they play. And you're right. I have not liked the way Jason Garrett has handled, especially handled against these big defensive lines like the Rams. I thought they did a decent job against Aaron Donald, but everybody else got in. I didn't think they did a good job against the Cowboys last week, whose defense is atrocious. So I agree with you guys on that, but this is not a great matchup this week for the Giants for that simple reason. But I'm going to go out again and say I think the Giants are going to find a way to win. I think they got to find a way to win this one. And, how they do it, I don't know.
You know what, Tommy, Jeff, this league's all about matchups, okay?
Yep.
And you just pointed out an excellent point. What's the matchup look like in offense? I mean, we're totally mismatched against their defensive front, right?
Yeah.
So you got to look at it and go, okay, Chris, Tommy, Jeff, how could the Giants win this game? Well, I look at it like this. Defense is going to have to come up with some turnovers. All right? And look, the defense should not be giving up 300 yards in this game against this Redskin offense. They got one guy, Terry McLaurin. Okay? One guy. Okay? They're down to Kyle Allen, who might not even play. They might be playing against Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got one weapon in McLaurin, and they kind of like their running back, Antonio Gibson. He's all right. He's coming. He's a kid that's showing some promise. But you look at this offense. There's no way the Giants defense should give 300 points. They're going to have to get a few turnovers to set up their offense, the Giants' offense. That's how they're going to have to win this game.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Jeff, you give the Giants any chance to win this week?
You know what, Tom? I don't know. I really don't know. This may be their best chance to win a game, but they may be going up against Alex Smith. But I really feel as though that there's so many holes and issues throughout this team that something has to take something. A unit has to step up and start taking over. Whatever unit that is, like I said earlier, we don't know. But until that happens, it's like they're tripping over themselves. You can't go into your 6th game of the season with your quarterback only throwing 2 touchdown passes. You know what I mean? Jason Garrett I think he was horrible in Dallas, and then the Giants signed him as an offensive coordinator knowing that they have a young quarterback. I just think it's a bad mix. And I don't think that it's fair to Daniel Jones because you're not really going to get a good read on what he's all about with a guy like Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator.
Well, I'll tell you guys why I didn't like Jason Garrett as the pick. Besides the fact that I wasn't crazy about him with Dallas, Jason Garrett still wants to be a head coach. And his hope was, he'd do well enough this year to get another job next year. There's a possibility he could still get there. There'd be plenty of job openings. I didn't like it because now Daniel Jones will be learning a third system next year if that was the case. That's why I didn't like the Jason Garrett signing, because he wasn't going to be the Giant offensive coordinator for the next 5 years. There's no way in the world.
You guys want to hear a scare? Do we have time for a quick scary story?
Sure, go ahead. We're good as long as you want. That's good. We're good.
Okay, so I put on Twitter a route tree during last week's game where all 5, 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, all ran the same route. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
My tweet got over 28,000 views, but here's the best part. You ready, guys?
Go ahead.
Somebody sent it to a Cowboy beat writer,
mm-hmm.
who then everybody that follows that beat writer picked up on my tweet, and you got to see the responses I was getting. Well, that's what we saw for 10 years. Good luck. Now he's your problem. Don't think he's going to change. This is the worst. Thank God we got rid of him. That's all I read.
Wow.
Scary.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Well,
how many people responded to that tweet in a negative way towards Jason Garrett?
Yeah, well, listen, I'll be the first to say I was happy every year that his job was on the line and Jerry Jones brought him back. I was the first guy to say, great, keep bringing him back. The guy's terrible. And then the Giants signed him, and I tried to find the silver lining in there. And the silver lining, and to be honest, my first thought was, this is a guy who's not going to be here forever. Why are we bringing a guy who absolutely positively wants to be a head coach and probably will be a head coach in the next couple of years?
He wants to be a head.
Fairness to Garrett too, he's had some well-designed plays this year that they just couldn't execute. Okay, like he had a nice little against the Rams a couple of weeks ago. That little screen to Golden Tate was well designed, but Deion Lewis doesn't kick out and get the block. So Jalen Ramsey comes in, blows him up, and then blows up Golden Tate.
Oh, what a tackle that was!
Wow. It's also the little things. They don't execute. They just don't execute too. And Garrett takes a lot of the blame, but I've seen it. There's some well-designed schemes he's got going that they just can't block. Gates can't get out of block. Okay, who's not getting out? Who's missing a block and all that? So it's it's always a combination of everything. But look, Garrett's been a disappointment. There's no question he's been a disappointment. The bottom line, it falls on who's it falling? I mean, when your offense is this bad, when you're 30th in the league or 31st, whatever they are now, you got to look at the coordinator. Besides the plays, you got to look at the coordinator too, man.
Sure.
So we'll see if they can improve on this. We'll see if they can improve on this. There's 11 games left. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff.
You said that about him possibly leaving to become a head coach. He didn't do much in Dallas. He's not doing anything as an offensive coordinator with the Giants. And I understand your point. You don't want another offensive coordinator dealing with Jones. But let me ask you something. Wouldn't you be better switching off offensive coordinators maybe next year? Because this guy is not doing anything at all to help Jones progress. What is Jones learning playing for Jason Garrett at this point in time?
I can't answer that. Maybe Chris can answer it better, but I don't think the Giants brought him in for 1 year and out. Again, unless he had a great year and the Giants played great and then he got a job offer. So Chris, unless you can answer that, I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I mean, unless something like you said, Tom, they didn't bring him in for 1 year and out. And you know what? And we're looking at this Giant offense. He ain't getting no head coaching job either next year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a scenario where the Giants offense and Daniel Jones really, the offense played well and Daniel Jones really progressed under Garrett, and then you said, okay, well, now he's going to get some interviews.
Yes.
He might be gone after a year, but you look at it right now, he's not getting no interviews. Not after his body of work so far this year. So he's going to be here, unless something drastic happens, he's going to be here. And let's just hope, things improve as you move along. And you know what, Tommy? Look, the offseason program, that is a big part of it, but we're 5 games in now. That's going out the window now. Nobody wants to hear that crap anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? About all season. Especially when you got, Kevin Stefanski walking in Cleveland. Now, don't get me wrong. They got a ton more talent than the Giants.
Yeah.
Offense. But you look at a guy like that, right?
Yeah.
The all-season program, and he's coming in and here they are. They're rolling in offense, and they're 5-1, 4-1. You know what I mean? So that all-season stuff only lasts so long. You got to start producing, man. And right now they're not doing it.
No, I agree with that. But again, I think the teams who have the same now, again, the new coaching staff, but a lot of the same team there next year. I think there's some advantages to what's happened other places than it has with the Giants. And again, that's not to say that the Giants haven't failed, but this team, new coaches, a new offensive line, a lot of new players on both sides of the ball. I'm giving them a little bit, but my patience is running out. No more moral victories is how I feel right now.
Oh man, I should have taped that.
Look, they drafted Andrew Thomas 4th overall, and they thought they got the best tackle coming out. And right now, Andrew Thomas has been mediocre, man. He's been part of the problem up front. He's been part of the problem.
No, agreed, but I don't think they drafted him because
I wanted Jeff's guy.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't think they drafted him because they thought he was the best. They thought he was the most ready to play right now. They didn't think he had the most upside. That's the feeling I got. The feeling was that he was the most ready to play now. Now, it hasn't worked out that way. You're right. Becton's been much better. But
why would you waste a draft pick like that, though? That makes no sense, dude.
It makes a ton of sense.
Why? Because he's ready to play now. Why not go get the better player that you haven't for 10 years?
No, I didn't say he was a better player. I said he potentially was a better player.
No,
so
you said that.
The Giants could not. You missed the point. The Giants could not miss at that pick. That pick had to be a guy who was going to play.
You get a better pick that's going to give you. You don't need to become overnight sensation, Tom. You need a guy that's going to be there to anchor your line for a couple of years with a brand new quarterback.
I again agree with you, but Chris, do you get what I'm saying, Chris, on this one?
Well, yeah, they felt they had the most ready-made tackle to step in and play from day one.
Right.
That's what they felt. The kid came from the SEC. They felt he was the most well-rounded tackle who could step in and play from day one. Look, you got to remember something too. He wasn't going to be playing left tackle this year until Nate Solder opted out.
Yeah.
So he's throwing out left tackle right now. And look, I understand Jeff's point too. It's like, okay, if you don't think he's the best, why would you draft him? So to me, Tommy, I get what you're saying, and that's what happened. But they also felt he was the best, most rounded tackle coming out. Don't think, like Tommy, what I'm saying is, don't think they thought they had him ranked. Oh well, we think Becton and Jedrick Willis was a little bit better, but this kid's more well-rounded, so we'll go with him. No, they had him ranked the best tackle coming out all around.
Okay.
And right now he's not proving that. Right now, Becton, before he got injured, is proving way better, playing way better.
Oh, absolutely.
And the other three, Willis and Worth, they're also playing better than
absolutely, 100%. I won't argue it. Yep.
Now let me ask you guys something.
Now,
why would you?
Now this time, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Why would you draft a left tackle, okay, and make him play right tackle for a year or so? When you need a left tackle, I don't understand that. You're just delaying the progress instead of just putting him out there as a left tackle. Get one that is ready to go today, not 2 years from now.
I disagree.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It does because you know what, Jeff? It's a way of not throwing them to the wolves. Give them a chance. Play the right side, not the back side against what most teams will put their best rusher on that side of the field. So the idea was Solder on that side for a year, give the kid a chance to get acclimated, maybe get some move over to the left tackle for the year, and then next year he's your guy. I agree with that every day of the week.
I know that, but that's like saying, like, you know what? Listen, we're going to take the third-rated linebacker first in the draft only because we think he'll be. We like his size. We like his height and his weight better than anybody else. So we're going to take him and hope that he plays up to the potential that we're looking for. I just don't like that idea. I don't like that way of business. I would rather take the left tackle and say this is the one we want. This is the one we got. Not that, okay, let him play the right side for a year or two, and then we'll switch him over to the left side. That I'm not crazy about.
Okay, I guess that's all fair. Guys, check out the GiantInsider.com to read up on Chris. Buy the magazine. I buy it every month when it comes out. Whenever it comes out, I get the magazine. They do a great job over it. They give you all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And Chris, here's what I love about you guys and your magazine. You want to call it newspaper magazine. while obviously you cover the Giants, you're part of the Giants, kind of the fabric of the team. You guys don't pull punches over there. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And that's what I like about it. It's not a fan club magazine. That's what I really love about what you guys do over there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, we look, we say like it is. I guess if you listen to the podcast, hopefully you listen to the podcast, you'll hear that too. And obviously from talking to me for this half hour, whatever we've been on, I'm not going to come out and say, oh yeah, listen, we're 0-5, but everything's great. Thomas is the best tackle. Jones looks like Joe Rogers thought about. We're going to say it like it is, dude.
Yeah, no, that
I think people appreciate that.
Absolutely. Again, as a Giant fan, I love that fact because I don't want to just turn in and read, rosy stories about everything. That when I'm staring at the screen and I know it's not rosy, that's where as a fan, you kind of turn away and say, I don't want to read that. I want to, give me the nuts and bolts. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes, and I want to know the good and the bad. He was good this game. He was bad. Good pick, bad pick. And do you guys ever get grief from the Giants for some of the things you guys write? Do you ever get feedback to say, what are you doing while you're writing it?
No, not at all. Because they know, Tommy.
Right.
They know that we just report it the way we see it. Unlike some of my colleagues, though, I'm not going to name, who are with me every day covering the team, that some of them might have a little bit of an agenda at times, So,
yeah.
No, I never had a problem with the Giants. They look. Our newspaper's been around for three decades.
Yeah,
covering the Giants, and they understand where we're coming from. And you know what, Tommy? There's been instances where we've made some criticism. Well, I've been pretty critical at certain things, where it's kind of raised some eyebrows. We're like, oh shit! If Chris is, what the heck is going on if these guys are right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You understand what I'm getting at?
No, I get it. Yeah.
And trust what I tell you, Tommy and Jeff, these guys, organizations read everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. They might tell you, oh, we don't look at the press, or we don't look at this newspaper, or we don't read this guy's column. They're full of crap. They read everything.
Jeff and Tom here with Chris Bizignano from the Giant Insider. Make sure you check it out, thegiantinsider.com, and make sure you find it at your local place. I got it up the block. There's a Wawa up the street for me. I get it every time it comes out, so make sure you do that. Jeff, you had another question for Chris before we let him go?
Chris, I got one last question for you. Let's say that the Jets and Giants both finish with the same record, okay? And the draft is coming and Trevor Lawrence is there. Which team, in your estimation, is going to give up on their quarterback first? The Jets or the Giants? And would they even go after Trevor Lawrence?
That's easy.
I would say the Jets, Jeff. I would say the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, if the Giants had the number one pick in the draft, if they were unlucky or lucky, whatever you want to call it, and they had the number one pick in the draft, well, let's say they had the number 2 pick, and whatever reason, Trevor Lawrence is sitting there for them, ready to go. Do the Giants trade down? Do they make the pick? Do they pass? At this point in time, I don't see them taking another quarterback. I don't think they're going to give up on Daniel Jones, no matter what the season does. What's your thought? You're there more than we are.
You know what, guys? Have me on after the last game of the year, and I'll give you an answer then, because I can't just give it an answer right now. I can't say, we'll get launched, because nobody in this organization is giving up on Daniel Jones. That I can tell you.
I agree. Yeah.
You got to remember something. Like Donald has another year in, with the Jets, and look, Jeff. All the things that Sam Darnold showed at USC, he has showed with the Jets.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, Jeff. Trust me, I'm not being a wise guy, nothing like that. But that one Rose Bowl game made him against Penn State, and that kind of overlooked a lot of his flaws. And you looked at him at USC, and what he did at USC is exactly what he's doing with the Jets now. So he shows some flashes like, holy shit, this guy's a franchise, no question. And then the next play, it'll be like, what the hell are we doing picking this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You can ask Tommy. I said since they drafted him, I wasn't behind that pick. I wasn't. I didn't think that he was the answer from the day he got here, and I still don't think he's the answer. I think at this point in time, in my estimation, he's damaged goods, and he definitely needs to get a fresh start someplace else. He needs to get away from Adam Gase Adam Gase is a cancer, man. The guy has no idea what the fuck he's doing with a football team.
He's going to be gone.
Yeah.
He'll be gone at the end of this year, Gase.
Dead man walking for sure. Yeah.
Them getting rid of Le'Veon Bell, and Tom, we'll talk about this later. Them getting rid of Le'Veon Bell shows me that, one, he's going to be there for the duration of the season, and two, there's a chance if this team picks it up and they win 4 or 5 games somehow, some way, he'll be there again next year because Chris Johnson's a fucking idiot.
Oh, look, Jeff. I'm not going to disagree with you there, man. When it comes to the Jets, because last year they finished strong on the Gase, and if they happen to turn around and win, like you said, 3 or 4 games, maybe even pull an upset on a team in the latter half of the year. Oh, you could see them saying, "Oh, yeah, see, Gase is getting his guys here now." Oh yeah, no question. I can see that.
Yeah,
and you better hope not, Jeff. Because next year,
believe me,
over and over.
Listen, like I told you earlier, I've been on Tommy relentlessly for weeks, months about this. If Adam Gase is back next year, I might as well go to Home Depot and buy rope because I'm going to need it to make a noose because he will be on me all day long. The roles will be reversed. I won't be able to take it. I'm telling you right now.
It's the truth.
You know what kills me, guys? You know what kills me about the whole Adam Gase thing is that the Jets actually fell for his crap. You know, that he was some kind of offensive genius.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because he coached Peyton Manning 1 year. Guys, us 3 could put headsets on, stand on the sideline, and coach Peyton Manning.
First of all, I got to disagree with that. You don't coach Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning goes out and says, "This is what I'm going to go do." You don't tell him what to do. The guy's a fucking once-in-a-lifetime talent. What do you mean coach him? And you in the same division with him. It isn't like the Dolphins ended up winning every year like the Patriots and they were a powerhouse. You were beating up on this guy just as much as he was beating you. He sucked. Why the fuck you wasting your time?
You know, and somehow or another, Jets fell for it. You know.
Yeah. Agreed. Chris, I got one more for you, Chris, before we let you go. Jeff's got something else. I got to ask this question because, we don't get the opportunity to talk to somebody who's kind of, got his toe in the water around the NFL. So I got to ask this. I'll say for me, I won't say for Jeff, but for me, I've been totally down on the NFL for their social justice messaging. It's bothered me. It's annoyed me. We won't get into all the details of it, but has there been talk around? First off, how much have the Maras been behind this, or just tolerating it? If you know, and B, are they like the NBA starting to realize the backlash isn't worth it, and the talk next year is to kind of move past this? Any thoughts,
guys? I got to be honest with you. I don't get involved with the politics, and
okay.
I just strictly cover the football.
Okay, that's fair enough. Like I said, I got to ask the question because it's something that bothers this show.
I can't
Understood.
say how Mara feels.
No, again, I wasn't looking for a quote. I just was kind of, is it tempered based, tempered based on what's that? But let's move on from that because listen, give out. I know you guys are doing the podcast. Give out some websites. Give out some where people can listen to the podcast, so that way we can kind of promote what you're doing out there as well.
Okay, the Giant Insider podcast. It's on twice a week, usually Monday and Friday. Go to giantinsider.com and you can get the magazine. Our newspaper comes out every 2 weeks during the season. And on Twitter at Giant Insider. And you'll see all the tweets and everything about the team and everything else. So, and thank you guys for having me on, man.
No, Chris, thank you. Listen, I'm going to take you up on, at the very least, at the end of the season when it's over, kind of break down and kind of forecast whether we're looking at Trevor Lawrence or not next year.
All right, guys. You take care.
Chris, that's Chris. Chris, thanks a lot. I appreciate it again.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. That's Chris Bigignano. He dropped in to kind of talk to us about the Giants. And Jeff, what did you get your questions answered? Do you think I think Chris sided with you more than he did with me?
Tom, I got to start before I say anything else. I must say that it was extremely brave of you to bring a Giants insider in and let us both have a shot at him.
Why not?
Because you're right. I think that he did see my side of my point of view a little bit more often than you. But that's okay. That's what makes it great. I had a good time with him. I could see a couple times that we touched a nerve by the look on your face. It was great. But listen, that's the game of football. It's meant to be played. It's meant to be argued over. I'd rather not be doing it any place else but here with you, man.
Absolutely, pal. And that's what makes it fun. I get a kick out of because I can see the minute Chris said something, your eyes would light up, your smile would hit your face. And I'm going, if it was ever a time I would hit the button and zoom and get him out, this would be it. But listen, that's what sports is all about. It's that back and forth. You know, Chris is a Giant fan.
My team is better than your team type of thing, man.
Exactly. That's what. Listen, there's no right or wrong answer to it. It's how you feel. Again, I disagree with some of the stuff Chris said. I agree with a lot of what he said, but I disagree with a lot of it. But listen, and at the end of the day, sometimes I think that you are that guy that sits on the shoulder and says, "Jerk off. I know you're a fan, but you're not paying attention to what really going on out there."
Tom, I mean, it's listen. And once again, you are what your record says you are. That's the greatest quote I've ever heard.
I agree with that to a certain extent. Listen, you are a bad team, but there are different bad teams. Again, I can look at the Jets and Giants and give you 10 reasons why the Giants are moving in the right direction. Are they any better than the Jets right now? On paper, no. But when I watch it, I can go, this team's got a good defense. I love this on their offense. I love this on their special teams. The coaching's better. I can look at another team and go, they're 0-5, but I see nothing of value in the future. That's the difference between 0-5 team.
If we put them side by side, we could probably come up with a fuckload of different things that we could each agree with. Right off the bat, coaching.
Right.
Without a doubt. I think that me and you right now could walk into the Jets room and get more respect than Adam Gase is getting right now.
Right.
You can't tell me that his team is respecting what he's doing. It's impossible. That's one thing.
Right.
Second of all, I know that you like to look at certain things certain ways, and that's what makes it even better yet to rib you.
Sure.
But I understand your point, but the whole thing is also this, dude. Like I said earlier, they played a game to win. You can't play the game to say this year the goal is to get 1,000 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns on the ground for this guy, and this guy to throw 20 touchdowns and cut down on his interceptions. It's not a moral victory. Moral victories mean nothing. Moral victories cost people jobs.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, agreed. But there is also, listen, only one team wins the Super Bowl every year. Only a handful of teams make the playoffs. So what you look for the rest of the afterthought teams is my team getting better. Like last year when I watched the Giants, I said, okay, this team looks like it's got some pieces. Is it getting better? Okay, yeah, I think it's getting a little better. There have been years with the Giants where I went, this team just stinks. I don't know how to go. Next year is going to be atrocious. This year, right now, I'm watching a team that, here's what I see, Jeff, a team that doesn't know how to win football games. Playing well, they get to a certain point, and then it's almost saying, what's going to happen next? And, instead of being, we got this, it's what's going to go wrong next. I think that's something the Giants have to get past, and they have to win some games to do it.
I agree with that. Listen, winning cures everything. We know that.
Absolutely. You're a genius when you win. You're right.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, Adam Gase showed that last year. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
But as a Jet fan and as somebody whose team, like with Adam Gase, did what they did, do you really want Joe Judge and Gettleman to all of a sudden throw up an inflated record, so to speak, that it gives you hope for next year? Just like last year, I said on this show, 2020, the Jets are going to be contending. But now they're going the complete opposite way, contending for the number one pick. You don't want to be in that position, dude. And you know that.
But here's the thing, though, Jeff. Okay, so it's a great point. Let's talk about this, then maybe transition to the Jets. Let me ask you this point, though. Do you at what point do you say, I want my team to try to be competitive? Like right now, the Jets and the Giants are 0-5. If the Jets were able to go on in the last 12 games of the year, if they were able to go on a 9-3, 8-4 run, would you rather that, or would you rather them at this point tank the rest of the year for a better draft pick?
At this point in time, as much as I would want to see Donald removed, I think it's only because he needs to as a player to get out of there.
Agreed. I agree with you on that. Okay. I think you're right.
I was against the hiring of Adam Gase from day one.
100%.
Okay? So to me, I don't want to see them all of a sudden pull this shit out of nowhere, out of the woodwork, and win 7, 8, 9 games the rest of the way.
Mhm.
I want to see them, if they could lose 22 more games on top of what they already lost this year, so be it.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of Gase. And another problem is you can't have your general manager and your head coach each on equal terms to report to the owner. The coach should be reporting to the general manager, and the general manager goes to the owner, not on the Jets. Adam Gase, I mean, come on. You released Le'Veon Bell. You didn't even use him right. You made it quite obvious you didn't want to use him right.
Correct. No.
The guy went on Twitter. Everybody's saying bad shit about him now. All he said, he didn't even say it. He agreed with it that they should be using him in a different way. And now that's it. He's gone, and he's a cancer. He's a scourge. The guy wasn't causing any kind of problems. He wanted to play. Gase said no from last year and didn't want him.
Yeah. Listen, again, Gase didn't want him when they signed him. I mean, he went out of his way at that point to say, that he didn't agree with spending the money on a running back. So that relationship got off to a bad start. I don't know how. Here's the thing: we'll never know now. Was it the fact that Le'Veon Bell had the amount of downtime he had and wasn't coming back? Was it the way he was used? I don't think we're ever going to know at the end of the day, why he wasn't successful with the Jets. All we can blame it on right now is the fact that Gase did not use him at all.
Well, look, right now he's supposedly signing with the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's what Louis said, yeah.
So let's just say he doesn't play this week. So that would bring him to week 7.
Right.
So say he plays from week 7 on. And let's just say that he lights the league on fire. Well, not totally on fire, but pretty well on fire.
But he plays well, yeah. He's a factor.
And it's going to show that, okay, look at what this guy has done. How come he couldn't have done this with the Jets? Do they have a bad offensive line? Do they have a passing game? No, they don't. They have a bad offensive line.
Yeah.
So they can key in on him. But he wasn't getting touches. They weren't lining him up as a receiver. They weren't throwing him the ball at all.
But what if he doesn't do well there? If he doesn't do well there, does that make Adam Gase look? So if you're a Jet fan, you want him to go over to Kansas City and play really well, right?
Of course, yeah.
Because otherwise it'll look like Adam Gase was smart and knew not to play him, correct?
I don't think, listen, unless he goes and rushes the ball for 300 times for the rest of the year and get 15 yards total, there's no way that Adam Gase is going to look picture perfect and amazing with this. It's just not going to happen.
No, I agree. I agree with you. The question I have right now is, okay, so Donald doesn't look like he's going to start again this week. All right. They're playing Joe Flacco, which is, no benefit to anybody. So at this point, Jeff, if you're okay, so think about it this way. There's different agendas on this team right now. You don't know if the team likes Adam Gase. It seems like their stars, Jamal Adams didn't get along with them. Bell didn't get along with them. Okay, but there's different agendas. If you're Gase, you want to win every game you possibly can. At this point, what does management want? Does management want to win games and then have a tough decision on Gase? Do they want to lose games? What's the agenda each way for you right now? If you're a Jet fan, okay, you're a Jet fan. If you were kind of looking above, how does management see the rest of the season? Do they want wins? Do they just want improvement? And if they do and they get it, does it matter? Is Gase coming back anyway?
I don't think management knows what the fuck they're doing. I think that Chris Johnson maybe is Woody. When does Woody come back? Do you know?
Again, I don't know if. I guess it depends a lot on the election. If Trump were to win and Woody stays ambassador, I guess he don't come back.
I don't think even if Trump wins, I don't think he could stay as ambassador for another 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
4 years. I think I read that before. Let's put it this way. Let's say Woody comes back.
Okay.
Starting in 2021. Let's say he comes back. Maybe Chris Johnson just doesn't want to go through the hassle and the bullshit. Or maybe Woody Johnson's like, listen, you didn't do nothing. Just leave it the fuck alone. Just let it ride, and I'll take care of everything when I come back. Mm-hmm. Is that a possibility? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Woody's out, but is Woody really completely out of the picture? I mean, I don't know. We don't know if they're talking and he's hinting and he's telling. I don't know if Woody's running the team from England. I would doubt it. It doesn't seem like it, but you know.
Well, I don't. Well, how could you say it doesn't seem like it? It wasn't like he was putting out a fucking juggernaut out there every
Well,
week.
that's the point. How do we tell who's running this team at this point? And I don't think Woody coming back would make me feel any better as a Jet fan.
Oh,
I mean,
it's going to make me feel better than Chris Johnson. Listen, for all I know, Chris Johnson has Chinese food at lunch and saves the fortune cookies to the end of the week and fucking cracks them open and try to be like, okay, the tea leaves telling me to do this. I don't know.
Jeff, I can't argue. Like I said right now, I think there are teams like the Falcons who would probably rather losing and wind up with the number one pick in the draft. I think there are teams out there that kind of said, we're at where we're at and we don't care. I think the Jets are caught in the middle of that. I think, at this point, if this season ends the way it does now, you could see wholesale changes, new quarterback. I mean, the offensive line has not been impressive again. Which again now starts to go on to Douglas. Joe Douglas has to start taking a little bit of the rap at the end of this year if there's not improvement on some of these things that his fingerprints on.
Well, listen, you're right to an extent. I feel as though you're right to an extent, and I'll explain. All right, this was his first year, his first draft, his first free agency.
Agreed.
Old everything and everything else. But the one thing he did is he took mid-level players at best. Cheap, short deals. So it looks like he was trying to clear space, cap space.
Makes sense.
I read earlier the Jets could have $80 million in cap space going into next year, only behind, I think it was the Texans. I can't remember who. There was only one other team that'll have more cap space. I think it might have been the Colts. And I can't remember who it was.
Right.
Colts or Texans. So one of those two teams is going to be the only ones with more space, cap space, than the Jets.
Okay.
So now, once again, depending on what happens and the draft, everything else, we don't know. It's going to be another. They're going to have to, possibly overspend. They got rid of Jamal Adams. C.J. Mosley didn't play because of the pandemic.
Right.
Marcus May started off pretty good. He hasn't had a bad season, but I don't really hear them talking about him like they once did.
Right.
So it depends on, are there any shiny spots from here to the end of the year? Potential players like, okay, we have a safety, we have a left tackle, we have this, we have that.
Right.
Maybe you could get some other free agents, a little bit of the next level free agency. Don't take a guy, if you will, to use a Madden analogy, don't sign the guy that's a 72 to a 75 because the guy that's an 80 or 90 don't want to play for you. You got to make the team appealing that you're going in the right direction.
Sure.
Right now, if they take Trevor Lawrence, I mean, free agency will already be, a history by the time the draft comes. But I think that they're going to have to go after another quarterback. I really do.
Oh, I agree with you. Listen, if you get the number one, if the Jets, lucky or unlucky, like I said, to be the number one pick and have the number one pick in the draft, and Trevor Lawrence is up there, I mean, you got to make the pick because Sam Darnold has not shown to be that guy. He's not stayed healthy. He's not been that guy here. You're going to come in with a new coach. I think that coach is going to come in. He'll make that pick, and that'll be it. They'll be tied together. I think if you're the Jets, it's almost time to start washing the board. But here's the question. I just brought up coach. Here's the question, Jeff. Can the Jets afford let me ask you it this way. Well, yeah, we'll start with that. Can the Jets afford to take the next big offensive assistant or defensive assistant or college coach who's never coached in the pros? Or do they have to go out and try to find maybe the seasoned coach, somebody who's done it before to at least at a somewhat major level? Can you afford to have another misstep in the coaching department? Which, who's that guy?
Well, that's just it. I mean, right now, is Eric Bieniemy is probably going to be a big name.
I would say, yeah.
As far as a college coach goes, listen, do you take a chance? Cliff Kingsbury has been doing pretty good for himself in Arizona. I'm not saying that they're going to be. Listen, that team may finish second place this year. You don't know.
Yeah,
I don't see them getting into first place.
No,
they're not going to be the last place team this year. I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a last place team in the NFC West.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's two choices in my book. If I was to handling the Jets, I do like Bieniemy, but again, I'm a little gun shy because if Eric Bieniemy comes in and he's not the guy, he's got no track record whatsoever as a head coach, or again, coming from a great staff, coming from a great team. His offense is great, but he does have Patrick Mahomes. He does have Tyreek Hill. The guy's got talent up the wazoo. I'll tell you the guy that if I were the Jets, I would throw the bank book at. I would go to Gruden route, and I hate the guy, but I think he'd be the perfect guy for the Jets because he's got a track record. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's had success in this league with quarterbacks, and that's Jim Harbaugh. I think the Jets should throw every dollar at Jim Harbaugh, make him president of the team, give him a lifetime contract. To me, that's the guy because he's got the track record. He's still young enough. And I think he wants the opportunity to come back into the league and show himself. That's the guy I would run for. And I think he's a dick, but I think that's the guy.
Oh, listen, anything is possible. Would it be worth a try? Yeah, but you want to know something? I think that you would have to exercise every other option you think you have first. Because if not, you're going to end up, let's say you try to go with him, okay, and you're courting him for a while. Now all of a sudden, Bieniemy goes to Atlanta.
Right.
Okay. Now you're still courting him, but you don't know. Okay. Now your number two now goes off someplace else to wherever, to Detroit. Okay. What happens? You ended up like the Giants with Pat Shermer. Now you're down to your third pick because now Harbaugh's just like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I got to stay here. So
I get it. I get it.
Sure. Maybe this is something that they should start doing from now.
Well, that's here's the thing though, Jeff. I mean, do you start courting guys? Things like that get out there, and then Adam Gase is on the sideline coaching, and the Jets are making. Well, I agree with you. If I were the Jets, I would be calling up Jim Harbaugh and say, "You got any interest? If I back the truck up to your house and dumped a bunch of money in your lawn, would you even consider it?" I would agree with you, but that's probably not going to happen that way. All I say is, I love Bieniemy too. I think he's a guy I would like to have for the Giants. I love Judge, and I'm happy they took him, but I wouldn't have minded Bieniemy. I think he comes from a great tree over there, and I think Reed's done a great job with coaches. But again, it's an unknown commodity. What if Bieniemy comes out there and he's not a number one guy? What if he's a number two, and that's the best he's going to be? That this Jet team cannot afford another miss at the quarterback spot and at the coaching spot.
Yeah, but come on, Tom. We've been doing this show now for how many years? And
6 years.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. But you know what? Look at Adam Gase. You're saying that you go after Bieniemy and you find out he's a number two. If Bieniemy is a number two, Adam Gase is about a 12.
Agreed. No, but that's my point.
Bieniemy is already going to be a fucking light years ahead of whatever Adam Gase is doing.
Jeff, you and I sitting here are a better coach than Adam Gase. I'm agree with you, but my point is, even a less of a failure is still a failure. If Bieniemy is a failure, but a less of a failure, it's not making his team better. This team needs to get on the next player.
Suppose, let's say next year, okay, the next coach, let's say, is Bieniemy, okay?
Yep.
And let's say that he gets the Jets up to 8-8.
Yep.
Okay, after this year, 8-8 will get fucking coach of the year.
Sure,
okay?
Absolutely.
The following year, let's say he has the Jets at 13-3, and somehow, some way, they make it to the AFC Championship game. And then that's his fault, just like Rex Ryan. Okay, but the Bieniemy says, next year we're going to try to do what we got to do to go get over the hurdle. Not say the stupid ass Rex Ryan stuff. Okay, this guy could end up being a fucking Jet folklore if he was to do it right.
Of course, anybody would be. And listen, if anybody got to the Jets to be a competitive playoff team for a couple of years in a row, they would give him a parade down Broadway. So that's the easy part. But the problem I have is, what if Eric Bieniemy is not Cliff Kingsbury? What if he's Josh McDaniel, who's been a tremendous offensive coordinator up in New England? He had Tom Brady. Bieniemy's got Patrick Mahomes. What if he's Josh McDaniel, who went to be coach in Denver and was horrendous, ran back ran back over there, passed on the job at the Colts after saying yes. What if he's that? That's the problem I have with the next coordinator. To me, for the Jets, it's the same thing I said about the Cowboys. You need to get a guy in there. Some places need a veteran guy who will take that thing and come in and right the ship and make it work properly. And I think that's the Jets thing. I like Bieniemy. I hope the Jets hire Bieniemy. I think he deserves an opportunity, and that's the guy. But if I was handling the money and that team, Jim Harbaugh is the guy you want to try to get. I don't think you can get him, but that's the guy I would try to get.
It's understandable, but
Sure.
like we said just a few seconds ago, no matter who you get is going to be an improvement, a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Second of
I
all,
hope. Yeah.
you're saying to right the ship, dude. You got to build the ship. That thing fucking was the SS Minnow. It ran along the rocks and Titanic its way right down to the fucking bottom. I don't know if there's anything that you keep on that team or that's on that team right now. Or do you try? Maybe you start with the left tackle that they just drafted.
Yeah.
Maybe. But you got to get so many other fucking pieces.
Well, Joe Douglas starting from scratch next year. I mean, other than maybe Mims, who we haven't seen at all yet, but he was, a high draft pick. Other than Mims, Becton, I don't know, Brashad Perryman, maybe you keep if he gets on the field again. Offensively, that's it. Defensively, Mosley, if he comes back next year and plays, you got a handful of guys. This team.
How old is Mosley going to be next year? Maybe about 26, 27?
I think something like 27, 28. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so he's coming off a year that he's going to go 2 years without playing.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
All right, injury, and then he sat out for COVID. Is this guy going to be what he once was after sitting out for 2 years?
It's a great point.
He want to play after 2 years.
Yeah, I would say he's no salary, no paycheck this year. I think obviously I think he wants to come back, but you're right. Coming off the injury, missed all of last year, no football this year for COVID. That's a tough one. The Jets have a lot of issues. Again, I know probably Bieniemy is going to be the guy. He's having a ton of success over there, but I'm telling you, go back up the Brinks truck and try to talk Jim Harbaugh into coming back and leaving Michigan. Although that's the dream job maybe for him, I don't know. I think that's the kind of coach they need, and maybe to right this ship. Although I think he'd want full autonomy. He'd want to be the GM, and that obviously is not going to happen with Joe Douglas here. But listen, our next our co-host is on, and we got to get him up here. I want to get him on. Raphael's here waiting, so let's get guys. Remember, Hard Rocket Sports every Thursday night, 6:30 to 9:30 or 10 o'clock, depending on how late we go. Every Thursday night, Sunday mornings up in the air, 9 to 10. We do the Hard Rocket Sports Sunday morning football show. That kind of week to week right now. But next Thursday night, Ross the Boss, Tommy John coming up in a couple weeks. Check out hardrocketsports.com for more information on upcoming shows and guests. Jeff, let's get Raphael. He took the week off last week. He had big news going on over there, and we welcome back Raphael Esparza. What's up, Raphael?
Pretty good. How you guys doing today?
Hey man, how are you?
I am doing well. Just you guys rescued me. Now I don't have to watch the town hall live. I'm just DVRing both of them, and I'll watch them. I'll shoot myself in the head late tonight when I'm grading prop bets.
Well, it's great. I'm glad you brought that up because part of my thing tonight, I was excited when I remembered you. We talked this morning via email that you were coming on. I forgot you weren't on last week and you weren't going to be next week. You were this week, but I want you. I know that you got prop bets on all tonight and all that, but let me ask you to do me a favor on this one. I want you to pretend that this is a football game. Okay, like you would break down, Rams Cowboys, like you would break down Giants Jets. I want you to give me the head-to-head matchup. Trump Biden. We're 3 weeks out from the election. If you were going to sit there and say, okay, this is how these guys break down strengths and weaknesses, and you are going to put odds on them, which you have. How would you, as the head odds maker at mybookie.ag, how would you break down these two opponents?
Well, the way the money's coming in, it's been all Biden. I mean, he's almost a $2 favorite in some books. So if you were looking at a football game, let's take the Dallas Cowboys Atlanta Falcons game where the Atlanta Falcons were winning throughout the whole game. So we'll put Biden as the Atlanta Falcons. And then all of a sudden, here comes Donald Trump and the Dallas Cowboys pulling off an amazing touchdown after touchdown, fourth quarter, and they win the game small. I mean, granted that it wasn't a blowout, but they got the W, and Atlanta's over, and now Atlanta's looking for a new head coach. So I would kind of look at it that way. Don't be surprised. The money that's coming in on Biden might be just, I don't want to say fool's money, but hopeful money. I just don't see Trump losing this election. Unless for some odd reason he gets blown out in Florida, gets blown out in Ohio, then I think, and even let's say Arizona, then I think then we could see a new president, one-term president in Joe Biden. I just don't see that happening.
No, I kind of agree with you. I definitely agree with you on that. Listen, I think Florida's his. I think the one state he has to watch out for is Arizona. I think that's a good one. But I think he's got a chance to win a couple of states that people aren't talking about. So we'll see. But it's again, according to the polls, it's down to the wire. I agree with you. I don't see it. I think how much impact has the latest Hunter Biden stuff impacted the line, if at all?
Nothing. None whatsoever. People know about Russia. People know about China. People know about Biden's Hunter Biden stuff. Nothing's new. Nothing, unless for some odd reason some sex tape with midgets comes out in the next couple of weeks. That might be something that might break the barrier. I just don't see any of the news coming out. The only way, if I'm Donald Trump, the only way I will be worried, if the minority vote and the women vote. If the minority vote and the women vote, like I'm talking quadruple what they did the last 4 years, then he's in trouble. Because I looked at all the voting statistics after the last 4 years, and there was no minority vote and there was no lady vote. Ladies hated Hillary, and the minority vote said, "Hey, what is Hillary and what is Trump going to do for us?" So unless for some odd reason the minority vote and the female vote out, then Donald Trump could be in a very, very long Tuesday, the election day.
Yeah, Jeff.
The addition of Kamala Harris, a minority woman, what is that going to do for everything?
That could change something, but I've heard from both sides, especially in key states that I do a political show on Thursday nights. Some African American ladies don't like her. Some do. She's not an overwhelming. I mean, hated Obama or liked Obama. He was loved by all the minorities. Period. His first term. His second term, he had a lot of negativity going into that. The Republicans just didn't have anybody to kick him out of the last 4 years, so that's why he won a second one. But his first term, every minority, every female loved him. So I just don't. I hear mixed feelings for her.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think she's swaying voters for him. I don't think she's likable enough for that. Here's the thing. I agree with that. I think women he's in trouble with, but I think the minority vote, the Latino vote seems to be trending bigger his way this time, which is why I think he's going to win in a landslide. But let's see how it plays out. We got a couple weeks away.
I don't think he wins by there's no way he wins by a landslide. People keep on telling me, oh, he's going to win by a landslide. He's going to win a popular vote. Even if he just loses California and he can't win by a landslide. Even if he just loses California and some other key states, there's no way he wins by a landslide. It's going to be a nail biter. It's going to be a lot closer than it was when he beat Hillary.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think no way Trump can win California, although I think some of those states, the Democratic governors are pushing people who are not necessarily Trump fans to not be Democratic fans, especially New York. I think Trump's got a real good chance of stealing New York. I don't think there's any chance in California, but I don't want to spend too much time on the election. Jeff, I know, Jeff, you don't follow it all that much. You have a thought on how this election is going to go? I didn't ask you that question.
It's a scary proposition, bro. It really is, because you're talking about two guys that are too old, in my estimation, to be for president. That's one thing that I do not like, especially with Biden. Okay, it's a scary thought. This guy would be in his early 80s if he survives long enough to even finish the term. Yeah. Second of all, Trump, I don't like Trump as a person. All right,
nobody does.
Yeah, well, it sways me to not want to vote for him. But as of late, it seems it's almost like he's trying to sabotage his own chances. with the mask and taking the mask off immediately and saying some of the stupid things that he does. And it's just like, is he trying to push it to the point to see how much he could push and still win? Is he trying to blow it? I don't know.
Nah. No.
Well, one thing about New York, they're minus 4,000 for them to be to pull Democratic. So I don't think he has no chance of winning New York.
I'm telling you, if you were out here, I'm telling you that the sentiment in this town is I'm telling you, there's an undercurrent of Trump people. I'm not telling you he's going to win it. I think no, I'm going to say I think he's going to win it. I don't think he's going to landslide it, but I think he's going to take New York in a surprise. I think between the cops, the law and order issue out here, and just the fact that DeBozo and Cuomo have sabotaged this city, I think people are going to run from the Democratic Party in a big way in New York City. That's my opinion, but we'll see. We got a couple of weeks. We'll find out.
Thank God. I can't wait for it to be over with.
Yeah.
You know what? It's never going to be over with because no matter who wins, there's going to be bullshit and arguing and fighting for the next couple of years, and you know that.
Well, yeah, for me, for an odds maker that has to look at all these numbers all day, I can't wait for it to be over. I'll understand the bullshit and all that, but it's going to be very interesting to see what parties go next election, because now we have brand new two candidates.
Yeah,
I mean, so it's going to be very interesting. Next election, everyone keeps on saying this is the most important election. No, it's not. The next election is going to be the most important election.
Absolutely, 100%. Because you're talking from scratch. You don't know who the Democratic Party is going to put up there, and the same for the Republicans. I think it's going to be Pence.
Yeah. Does Pence become the front runner for the?
No. If Trump wins, it's automatic that he's the front runner. I don't think he'll actually be the guy though. I think
he'll get crushed. And just in Indiana, he tried to pass a bill to pray the gate away. I mean, he'll get crushed.
Yeah.
By those anti-religious people. There's no way he wins. I don't even think he would want to run, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the Republicans will have some good younger guys that for the next time around. But that's for a whole nother show. But we'll see. November 3rd, everybody get out and vote. The one thing I'll say is, guys, and I say this all the time, the one thing I give up to Trump, and you guys can disagree with me all the time, the one thing he came out and said, I'm making you this. This is what I'm going to do. And that's what he went out and did. Whether you like his attitude, whether you like his personality, whether you like his demeanor or how he got there, he's the one guy in my lifetime who said, I'm going to do these 5 things, these 10 things, whatever it is. And he stuck to it and said, I went and did it. Whether he did it or not, there was no bullshit in that way. So that's the one reason why he gets my vote. For no other reason, that's it.
Mexico still didn't pay for the wall, though.
I disagree with that. Again, he never said they're going to write you a check. What he said was they're going to pay for it. And if you look at that trade agreement, they're paying an awful lot of money back to the United States right now because of that rework of NAFTA. So I disagree with you there, but that's for a whole different show.
Did he make like 260 miles worth of wall?
Almost 400 miles.
Almost 400 miles. And how long is the border between the United States?
There's a couple hundred miles to still go. But think about it. 4 years, you built almost 400 miles of wall that people can't get over, around, and under. Listen, it's impressive. And if you really watch the numbers, if
you didn't fix the wall, it means nothing. It's just it's like having a fucking traffic cone there.
No, Jeff, I disagree.
The end and go around.
No, again, if you just go and Google the Border Patrol guys, go Google all that, and you see that it's been dramatically down. I'm telling you, you say it's not a big deal. I'm telling you, that's been a huge thing that it's gone by the wayside because the Democrats can't find a way to make it be a negative. So that's why you don't hear about it, because they can't make it a negative anymore. So, but let's get to some sports. Let's not turn this into the political show. Let's not make this Meet the Press. Let's talk with the NBA.
Real quick. The border between the United States and Mexico is 3,145 kilometers. So the 400-foot wall that he built.
No, but Jeff, there's a ton of that terrain that can't be crossed by foot that way. So you can't it's not 3,000 miles of open area. I'm telling you. It says
that it would be 1,954 miles of wall.
Again, there was already wall built. He built more. I'm telling you, it's never. Listen, is it ever going to be perfect? I would tell you no. Is it better? Is the question.
Of course
That's
not.
The question, right? So, is it better? Is the big question. So, talk to me about talk to two guys who don't follow the NBA anymore. The Lakers, maybe surprise, maybe no surprise. I would have thought the Bucks were the team to beat. That obviously didn't work. Talk to me about the Lakers win and the little bit of the legacy for LeBron. And some people question, is this a legit win? My opinion, you finish the season, it's a legit win. What's your thought on the NBA Finals?
Well, I think any champion in 2020 in any sport is probably a tougher championship to win just because of the ramifications, no home court, no fans, testing 4 times a week. I think it's a tougher. So, if you want to put an asterisk, so people remind how tough it was no matter what sport. Super Bowl, NHL, NBA, baseball. I mean, I'm watching the Dodgers play right now, and someone else is playing in their home stadium for a playoff game. So I think every championship right now, should there be an asterisk? Yeah, just to remind us how tough it was for any champion to win 2020. LeBron's legacy, I'll give LeBron one thing. He's never done anything where he never was accused of rape or a bar fight or shooting or drunk driving or spousal abuse. He's always been level-headed, done his job. He's never even had any cheating rumors out there.
Yeah.
But I can't put him past Michael Jordan and other guys because those guys never chased championships. He did. He formed one in Miami.
Yep.
He dictated who he wanted to play in Cleveland. He dictated how they were going to get Anthony Davis in LA. That's going to be a big negative, I think, in a lot of people's minds. That's why, and no one talks about Bill Russell. I would think Bill Russell is probably a little bit up there than LeBron James or Michael Jordan. But I think that for me, I just can't put him up there as the GOAT. He's top 5, but there's no way he's number 1.
Yeah, see, my problem with LeBron. See, here's the thing. I'm not a LeBron fan. I just never warmed to him. But I said he's probably the most physically gifted basketball player I've ever seen. The guy could probably play 4 of the 5 defensive spots. I'm not sure he could play center, but I wouldn't put it past him. Offensively, I don't think there's a spot on that court he can't play. Physically gifted. But if I had to win a game, it's Jordan first. And I won't say Bill Russell because I have a rule. If I didn't see you play in the prime of your career, I can't really put you there, but I think he's top 3, in my opinion. But I take Jordan or Kobe over LeBron.
90 seconds.
Specifically, just for that attitude of we're going to win the game. There's just no way I'm going to lose. And I think that's the biggest difference I have with those guys and LeBron.
Yeah, the closing mentality. Kobe had. I would put Kobe ahead of LeBron. Jordan's number 1. If you watch the ESPN special during COVID, he would steal the ball away from his mom to take the game-winning shot. That's why everyone hated him back in the day.
I hated him as a Knicks fan growing up. I hated him.
One thing that you're all saying, and that's all true, but Kobe played all his time with the Lakers. Russell was with the Celtics, I believe.
Yes.
And Jordan was with the Bulls. Look at what, and unfortunately for LeBron, this is the way today's NBA is. That you go and play with your friends and you go buy people to come on your team. Everybody's doing it.
But the negative is on him, though, Jeff, because he's done that. The negative is on him. He could have stayed in Cleveland forever, and he would have been a god there.
You know what, dude? He went and won in Miami, went back to Cleveland, won there, went to Los Angeles and won there. You don't know if he's done in Los Angeles or he's going to move someplace else. His only negative to me is that he has all of the losses. That to me is the negative.
10
because
seconds.
Jordan didn't have any losses. Bill Russell didn't have any losses.
Well, I could see how people, and you're not the first time I've ever heard that either.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you, Jeff, on that. But I think the LeBron thing that I think it hurts his legacy is that he's bounced around, and like Raphael said, I think the negative is he
turned into a journeyman. That's what he turned into.
He turned himself into a journeyman, and I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
He's won wherever he went.
Again, I'm not doubting that, but he's also lost wherever he's gone as well. He's won, but he's lost.
Hasn't he been in like 10 finals?
Oh yeah,
yeah. But he's only won 4.
That's not easy to do either.
No, agreed.
That's why I think Robert Horry and Steve Kerr should be the GOATs. How many rings do they have?
and the one thing about Russell, I never saw Russell play. Goes down as part of the greatest defensive players. He may have been the best player of his generation. I won't even argue that. But he also played on a team with a lot of Hall of Famers on it. So he had a ton of help there. Again, you don't win without a couple of good second bananas with you. I mean, Jordan had Pippen, who's one of the better players in the league. I hated him, but great player. Kobe had Shaq. They both had some good players. LeBron, though, to me is just a talent-wise, you can't. I don't think you can get better than his physical gifts. But if I was picking a team, he would be at least fourth, if not fifth, on my roster. But that's LeBron. If I was picking, LeBron would be number 5 on my team, on my picks. If I was starting a team, he would be 5. So, MLB playoffs.
Guys that you could pick, it's unbelievable, man. If you could go spend all day just naming guys that you would pick for your top 5, Will Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem, Michael. There's so many. It's unbelievable. Where would you stop?
Well, you know, that's personal preferences, I guess. I guess, Raphael, that comes down to personal preference sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I would have Tim Duncan. I would have Tim Duncan as my top 5. I mean, that's
it's a good one.
That's an overlooked name because he wasn't in our markets. You know what I mean?
Once he stayed in one team, one market. Look at all those rings he has.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there were some great plays that Nowitzki, Duncan, guys that you just you don't think of in your top 5 or 10 sometimes, but great players. MLB playoffs a little bit. My Yankees got knocked out. Not happy. Another year of wasted talent for the Yankees, but an interesting playoffs for right now. Right now, let's see. Houston down 3-1 to the Rays. Interesting series. A little bit of the yips over there from my boy Jose Altuve. Maybe the buzzer. Maybe the wire hit the arm instead of the chest this year.
Yeah, I actually laugh at that just because I'm a big person who believes in karma. So, they're tied 3-3 right now. Tampa Bay's looking to close it out. I know the networks don't want Tampa I think Dick Vitale's the only person that probably wants Tampa in the playoffs, but the Dodgers-Braves series is going to be fun to watch. Let's see what Kershaw does tonight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I picked the Dodgers. I thought the Dodgers were on a roll, but this Atlanta team is no joke. They can pitch. There's talent through that lineup. Acuna, there's some great talent on that team. Listen, if you're Major League Baseball and the network, to me, you want a Dodger-Astro series just strictly for the headlines of, they stole the last one. Can they steal this?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the series you want. But again, from a baseball standpoint, it'd be an interesting matchup. The Tampa and the Dodgers. That's the Tampa's playing some great baseball. They got 3 great starters. The bullpen's good, and they get just enough hitting. That's not a bad team. It's not a fun team to watch, but it's not a bad team.
No, that'd be a great series. I'm hoping it's Dodgers, Tampa, even Atlanta. They got some great arms too. But let's face it. I want to see the Dodger bats in the World Series.
Absolutely. Listen, they're pitch enough, but that's the team you want. And if you're baseball, you want a big market. And the Dodgers, frankly, people are going to flock to watch that series. I don't know how much national attention the Braves Rays series gets from a national standpoint.
And I would like to see Kershaw get a ring. I mean, if anyone deserves a ring for what he's done on the mound, I think it's Clayton Kershaw.
That's a guy who's interesting. I mean, that's a guy who could easily be the best pitcher of his generation of this era. And yet, I think without that ring or without that big success there, there's going to be a little bit of an asterisk next to his Hall of Fame trophy.
He's the Carmelo and Dan Marino of baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great analogy. I would agree with that. So interesting. What was the early betting? Where was the money coming in before this? The NLCS and the ALCS. Was it Dodgers and Astros?
No, it was Dodgers Rays. I mean, I think even though I think on paper Houston had a better offense with the bat wise, but people didn't want to see Houston there. Didn't want to see Houston winning. The money came in on Tampa and the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I listen. If I'm going to watch or be a big part of that series, I want to see the Astros. I want to see them get killed in the World Series. But And it's a better matchup because I'm not a big Rays guy, but I think for the common purpose, the last thing I want to see is the Astros have any chance to win a World Series this year. I think that would be the biggest FU they could give anybody. Was God forbid they went out there and stole a.
And if they did win it, I think I would charge them out after the last out, flipping off the TVs.
Yeah, I agree. I have no use for listen. Cheating's part of baseball, but there's a moral cheating that's allowed. What
people cheat in baseball? I didn't know that. That's the first time I heard that.
Exactly. So I don't have a problem with cheating, but let's say there's just the right way to cheat if you want to take it to that extreme. So we'll see how it plays out. I do expect it to be Rays and Dodgers, but right now Atlanta's up. A big game tonight. They lose tonight. That's done. I think that's over. That's a big win tonight for the Dodgers. They need
to do a nice transition. Isn't it kind of nice to watch the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup, and baseball, and not wake up and say so-and-so's not playing because they tested positive?
Yeah.
I don't care. These bubbles worked. If people hate them, dislike them, or whatever, their work. And the transition of going into football right now, where we'll start talking for an odds maker, it makes my day very, very hard trying to find out how many kids are not playing in college because they're either quarantined or not, and who's playing in the NFL, and who just got sent home because they had a runny nose or a fever. Maybe they still tested negative, but they had a fever and they still didn't even let them into the locker room. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. So you brought that up this week alone. Cincinnati Tulsa game postponed, LSU Florida postponed, Vanderbilt Missouri postponed. Ole Miss has COVID issues. Saban has COVID. I mean, college football is in flux right now. And we'll get to the pros in a minute, but you're right to a certain extent. Now, I would have thought college would have had a better chance. I know the young kids and all that, but they're almost a bubble. They're on campus. It is getting to the point now where you're starting to question whether that's actually going to get finished or not.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the other leagues start. When Big Ten next week, Mountain West, Pac-12, the MAC. It's going to be very interesting to see when all these teams are on there, how many games get postponed and how many don't. I think they'll finish it. Now, will we have a national championship? I think that's probably the biggest question. Because let's face it, if some of these teams get hit hard, especially like they say the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, who'll be playing in the middle of November during the cold months, where everyone else will be done. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But what happened to the SEC defense? I mean, I watched them, and I feel like I'm watching Big 12 football. Yeah,
again, I was just going to bring that up too. Yeah, I don't know what to blame it on. I just don't know what to blame it on. I mean, teams are putting up astronomical numbers. I think I put down some notes of it this week, but really, really an interesting season all around in college football. I mean, talk a little bit. I mean, let OU Texas, what a game that was last week. But I mean, look at the score that one was. Texas A&M goes down and beats Florida, number 4 Florida. Crazy season.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about karma. How bad is I've been calling it the COVID karma. Here's Florida, who blames Texas A&M for having almost a packed stadium, and that's why they lost. They want 90,000 in their home game against LSU, and then they get 21 cases of COVID and they have to cancel the LSU Florida game. Can you talk about bad karma right there?
Wow, it's scary. It's tough, Jeff. You've been watching a little bit more college football this year. I know you watch a lot of Clemson. What's your thoughts on a lot of games, Jeff? I think the Texas A&M game I watched last week, it looked like a packed stadium. I mean, what's your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of these places, they have a lot of people there. And then you turn on football in our area and the NBA, and there's nobody there. I mean, college kids are going to be exposed to it more anyway, because that they're in classes, they're going to parties, they're hanging out with people. But I mean, to pack a stadium, I don't know if that's the smartest idea.
No, it's and like I said, there's some states that are going backwards now. So I don't know if it's because of college or school. I understand. Okay, 10,000, spread them out, a big arena. I can understand that. But what I've seen at Georgia game, what I've seen at the Texas A&M game, that's totally ridiculous to have those many fans in the stands.
Yeah, again, listen, I get that, people want to get out there, see the games, and I'm all for it. I love turning on the games last week. I mean, turning on the Georgia game, they looked like the full house. It was and a good football game. But I think they have to be smart, because I think the one sport, and if it's not a professional league, but the one sport that I think can't afford to push back their league is their championship game is college football. I think they got to stick to the schedule one way or the other, and that could hurt. You could have some teams starting late that may miss the boat because of it. Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. I know you guys are. I was listening to you guys, and I know you, Jeff and them. You've been watching Clemson and all that, and you mentioned about the Jets. Keep an eye out for the Jets. Tanking for Trevor, and let's say if they get that number 1 pick, I think Gase stays the whole season, because I bet you they try to grab Dabo to go to the Jets and bring Trevor with him.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow, I didn't think of that one. My vote was to go get Harbaugh, but Jeff and I both agree. We think it's going to be Bieniemy, but that's an interesting one. Dabo coming to the pros, bringing his quarterback with him. That's a really interesting conversation, Jeff.
Listen, I could get my fucking dog to replace Gase. That's all I need. Gase wants to go. I don't care if they dig up Weeb Eubank. I don't give a fuck. He has to go. That's all
I think he stays now. I mean, you're trying to tell me that he outlasted O'Brien. He had outlasted all these other ones. What's the point of firing him now? You're not going to the playoffs. You just released Bell. Your quarterback stinks. What's the point of letting him go now? Just let him hang out, grab a paycheck.
Let the fan base get something. The fans hate this guy. He's not well liked. And
I agree on that.
Just why keep him around? What is the point of keeping him around?
No.
What's the point of the team? There's still too many games left in the season for the team to just turn around and say, fuck it. We're not playing.
But where do you go? We go to Greg Williams again for another interim job? I mean,
if you know that if it's from now till the end of December, what difference does it make?
Yeah, no.
What's the difference?
I don't believe in firing coaches in the middle of the year unless you completely lost the locker room. Then that to me is a chance to do it. But other than that, I don't see the.
What about saying 2 weeks ago, whatever it is, that I may give up on the play calling duties? Then all of a sudden, we had a meeting and we said it's best for me to continue calling plays. Why? Well, you're not doing anything. You're not scoring. You're not doing anything. You're not nurturing players. You're not helping them progress. What are you doing? Adam Gase is for Adam Gase. His coaching, you know what his problem is? His coaching career is over once he gets out of it, once they let him go in the Jets. That's it. Where's he going to go, Tom?
Well, pros, I agree with you, Jeff. I don't think it's a job in the pros.
Yeah, he'll go back. He'll go to college.
He'll go to college. He'll get a job even if it's a smaller Division I college. He'll get a job.
Watch him go to college and take whatever team to the fucking playoffs every year and win for the next 10 years in a row. Watch. And all his players will be all pros in fucking the NFL.
Well, I did put up. I don't know if you guys saw this. I did put up prop bets. Who wins the first game? New York Giants or New York Jets? And who has more wins at the end of the season? The New York Giants or the New York Jets?
That's I think, but I don't know. That's we haven't done it. We usually do it middle of the season. We kind of go through the schedule for the rest of the year and see what we figure out. We haven't done it yet. I'd have to say it's going to be the Giants, but boy, I have no confidence in that.
I think the Giants are going to win more than the Jets.
Yeah.
As much as I hate the Giants and I don't want them to win this year specifically, I want them to finish 1-15 while the Jets go 0-16. That's what I want. I'll be happy with that, dude. I will be fucking so happy with that. It was unbelievable.
Let's talk a little bit about COVID in the NFL. So you said it, and it's a perfect segue into what I was one of my questions to you, one of my topics, which is as a football fan, I hate all of this playing Tuesday. We're going to play Monday. We're changing the game to Sunday. I hate it. I think it's annoying. It's hard to keep up with. But as an odds maker, as a bookie, as a betting site. Does it help? Because, with let's say 15 games or 14 games or whatever it is on a Sunday, not everybody's betting all those games. But if you space them out, are you getting more bets?
We did, and thank you, the NFL gambling guys, for putting that game on Tuesday, because the whole betting world bet Buffalo, thinking Tennessee forgot how to play football during their COVID break. They forgot how to run plays. They thought they were sitting around playing video games and eating burgers all day long. And so that helped us huge because everyone had Buffalo, and look what happened on the outcome. I kind of agree with you with the change of flexibility, but I mean, people complain, oh, they shouldn't change. Oh, I hate these Tuesday games. Well, you know what? In March and April, everyone was complaining that there was nothing on TV.
Yeah.
So you can't have your cake and eat it too. So if we're still in a pandemic, if they have to move schedules around and move it to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I just want them to say, hey, you know what? There's a week 18. There's no more Tuesday games. We're just going to start playing week 18. And I'm hoping and praying every night. I get onto my knees, and I'm an old man, and I pray to the gambling gods, can we please move the Super Bowl to February 14th on Valentine's Day and screw up a whole bunch of young people's love on to have Valentine's Day on a Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, it's also I think that's President's Weekend. So I mean, I've always said that they should play that on a holiday weekend because I think a lot of people would love the idea of having the day off after the Super Bowl. I think
it's true. I never thought about that. It is President's Weekend.
Yeah, it's President's Weekend. I think they should do it every year on President's Weekend. What's the difference if you push the season out 1 week and you finished it that weekend on a normal year? I think it's the best thing in the world. I mean, everybody watches it. People go to it. I think that's, to me, the perfect weekend for it. Sunday, most people have Monday off. I think it would be a perfect thing, Jeff.
I disagree because you know what? I actually like this week. You had football starting on Thursday night.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And now last week, my wife went to go visit her daughter in San Diego. So I had the weekend pretty much to myself. So we did the show Thursday. I watched college football Friday night, watched college football all day Saturday, watched NFL all day Sunday, picked her up Monday, watched NFL on Monday, watched another football game on Tuesday, didn't have no game on Wednesday, and doing the show on Thursday. And then it starts all over again. I could watch college football when I get off the show with you, go watch it tomorrow night and up until Monday. So I missed one day without watching some kind of football on some level.
Well, listen,
so I like that.
Did you eat a piece of fruit or vegetable the whole time while your wife was gone?
Silly boy.
He doesn't do it anyway.
If I would have pizza on a Friday night, and then Saturday was Chinese food, and then Sunday was Duffy's, man, hamburgers and chicken wings.
Man, I need to come to your crib and hang out with you on the weekend and watch games.
Anytime you want, man. Name the time and the place.
But listen, as soon as we play that show, we're gonna come out to Vegas and hang with you. That's where we're.
There you go. Oh, your wife probably won't like that if you guys came out and hang out with me.
Are you married?
Yes.
Then it may not be too bad then.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the game. Let's see. I was going to ask you where does Le'Veon Bell land, but it looks like he landed in
Kansas City.
Yeah, it's an interesting. And listen, I told Jeff before. I think if he goes there and there's no factor, Adam Gase looks like a genius. And if he goes there and he breaks out, has a halfway decent year, Gase is going to look even more of a moron. So that's one. But let's see what else did I have on my list of. Let's talk about some of the games coming up this weekend. Let's see. I want to talk about a couple of games. Let's see. Alabama, Georgia, which is probably the highlight of the weekend for me. I think should be a great football game. I think it's a lot of points. I like Alabama. What's your thoughts? What's the book look like for Alabama, Georgia on Saturday night?
Alabama, solid 6 yesterday. Then the news that Nick Saban has COVID, and it drops down to -4. Last time I checked, Nick Saban doesn't throw passes or tackles in the secondary. So, and let's face it, he's going to be around. He's going to be on cell phones, text messaging. Maybe they have him on a cable wire going back and forth. I don't agree with the big line drop. I think Alabama's going to be ready to go. Their defense was embarrassed last week. They're giving up all that many points, even though people said Lane Kiffin knew the playbook or whatever. I think Alabama wins. And it wouldn't shock me if they blow them out because I have not been sold on Georgia this year.
Yeah, I tell you the truth. If it was me and I was betting this week, I'd be running to the bank with Alabama. I don't see why that line changed just because of listen. At that level, coaches like Saban are figureheads. You got everybody else is running the game. He's making the big decisions, but he's not calling plays. He's not out there doing that. To me, not being there for one game, I don't think it's that big a deal. It'd be different if he was out for the year, maybe. But Mac Jones is playing great football.
Yes,
that team can play.
They got four running backs that can score at any time.
Yeah, Harris. That team could just flat out play offensively. Now, defensively, a little disappointing for an Alabama team. But I'm still taking them in that game over Georgia. I do like the Stetson kid in Georgia, but the other game I want to ask you about in college is Notre Dame, Louisville. Some people, for some reason, like Louisville. I don't know why. I mean, 17.5. I'm running to the bank on Notre Dame.
Yeah, they played Florida State, and they let Florida State score, 24 points last week. But Notre Dame didn't play for like 3 weeks before they played that game because of COVID issues. So they had a lot of rust. Now they're coming back-to-back games. I agree with you. I think Notre Dame's the play here. Notre Dame's going to want to control the game by the run. And Louisville's secondary is very questionable. I agree with you. I think Notre Dame has to be the play here. I missed a good number. It did open up at 14. It's now 17. I don't think it's going to come back down, but I think Notre Dame's the play.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little Heisman before we go. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, but I think the guy to watch for Heisman, Jeff, and you've been watching this team all year, is the running back. I think Etienne is, again, Lawrence is a great player. Don't get me wrong, and he's probably the Heisman front runner. I won't disagree. But Travis Etienne is no joke. That guy is a hell of a player, and I don't know where he ranks in the Heisman prop bets, but has his status moved up a little bit?
A little bit. I mean, it's Trevor Lawrence's to lose, I do believe. But Etienne, I think, is the best overall athlete probably that's going to be coming out of the draft. He reminds me of your boy Barkley a little bit, but with a bigger body upwards, can catch the ball, blocks really well. He would be my first running back. But let's face it, running backs are a dime a dozen. They don't pay running backs anymore in the NFL like they used to back in the day. So it's Trevor Lawrence's to lose.
I agree, Jeff. Your thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that, Jeff?
Yeah, I think with him, obviously going to be the first pick in the draft. I think I would go with that.
Okay.
I would choose him over the Ohio State quarterback. I'm not sold on Justin Fields. And let's face it, when was the last time Ohio State had a legitimate quarterback coming to the pros to have a really, really good season?
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody was up on Haskins last year. They questioned the Giants not picking him. I said it. The guy's got great numbers, at short distances, but I didn't like him. And now he's the third. I know he's supposed to be sick, but he was going to be third string, not dressing. You go from number 1 to number 3. It's kind of telling on that team.
Yes.
Kyle Allen, Alex Smith hasn't played in 600 days, and then you take your number 1 pick and you Jeff essentially put him on. He's slinging burgers in the cafeteria.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, Alex Smith is lucky to have his fucking leg, and now he's fucking playing, and brand new college quarterback for Washington lasted 10 games, it seems.
Yeah.
12 games, and it looks like he may be gone soon.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Hard Rocket Sports here with Rafael Esparza, Jeff Tarwinski. Make sure you go to mybookie.ag and make sure if you're going to bet, that's the place to go. Safe, secure, and they got a lot of great prop bets. Make sure you follow up one of the best in the business, Rafael Esparza. A few more for me, Rafael. Talk about some good games in the NFL this week. The Packers Bucks got to be probably the highlight game of the week for me. Tell me, 1 point. Bucks at home, underdogs to the Packers.
Yeah, there's actually 2 games, and I'm so glad they're spaced out. The 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, what a great AFC North battle between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And then the second game, with only 2 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Times. I mean, but who the heck wants to watch the Dolphins and the Jets? If you watch that game besides the Green Bay and Tampa Bay, there's a 1-800 number, gambling number, a problem gambling number that I can give you for that one. But let's face it, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, probably going to see a lot of fireworks on this one. Tampa Bay, the only reason why I don't like Tampa, they're still banged up on defense. Their running back, I thought for sure maybe they would probably try to land Bell because their running backs, Fournette's been hurt. Their tight ends, they're shorthanded on tight ends. I just think overall Green Bay rested coming into this one. They're 4-0, 4-0 against the spread. Tom Brady's single. Tom Brady's drinking tequila after games like he's like 20 again. It's hard for me to bet against Green Bay right now in that area. And they got Adams coming back for the Packers.
Yeah. Jeff, interesting, Tom Brady. What's your thoughts so far this year, Jeff, on Brady, his performance, and that team? You a little up, a little down on it?
Well, I wasn't completely sold on the Buccaneers just because they got Brady. I mean, Gronk don't look like he's doing much for that team. Brady's an improvement over Winston, but he's not carrying him like I thought he would. Well, if you thought, you were thinking that he was going to be so much better, but I could see them maybe being around 9-7 when it's all said and done. I don't see them winning that division.
Yeah.
Well, that division is probably one of the second worst disappointing divisions in football. Sure. The Saints their defense has been horrendous. Yeah. Wow, when you talk about the Carolina Panthers who hit the reset button after last year, and they're 3-2, tied for first place, that division, you were not sold on Tampa Bay before week 1 when I first came on here, so I have to give hats off to you. You were not sold on Tampa Bay. I think the 9-7 is a really good pick. I would not be shocked if 9-7 wins that division.
Well, when they talked about Tom Brady last year, he was losing it. He's not the same Tom Brady. He don't have the zip on the ball anymore like he once did. And if he was doing that in New England in a system he was comfortable with Bill Belichick, now he goes down to Tampa Bay, and it's like, what makes you think that he's going to do, any better? He was either going to stay the same or slip a little bit to me. That's me. What do I know?
This is a big game for the NFC because let's say if the Packers win this game, Packers have wins over NFC South Saints and Bucks, and they come in still being 5-0. Let's say the NFC East garbage, the NFC North will have the perfect Packers, and then you have leads over the NFC South, and now you're just looking at the NFC West Seahawks, which their defense has a lot of holes that gives up tons of points. Everyone wants to say Russell Wilson, but let's talk about that defense that's horrendously bad. Aaron Rodgers, this is a big game for the Packers.
Yeah, agreed. Another, you brought up a good matchup, Steelers, Browns. Listen, it's a divisional. It's a long-time rivalry. Both teams playing well. I like this game. I'm going to try to. Hopefully, I get to see it somewhere. So that's an interesting matchup. First time since the Myles Garrett kind of debacle from even though Rudolph's not playing, but Myles Garrett coming to play Pittsburgh should be maybe a little extra juice in the matchup there, Raphael.
If Rudolph was playing, yes, I think. I mean, this was really quiet until Hunt opened up his big mouth on social media and said, "Hey, this game is for Myles Garrett." Hey. Garrett doesn't even mention anything. He's having a really good season. If I was Garrett, I wouldn't want to mention anything. Everyone pretty much forgot about that. He's second in sacks. I think it's a lot of noise that's probably not going to beat anything. But I think Cleveland's a playoff team. I like Pittsburgh in this one. Beckham left practice. I heard he just had a fever. They don't think he's got COVID. They sent him home because he said he just had a sniffles or whatever. I like Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh in this one. They're at home. I think their defense plays up to that battle because we know Cleveland's going to want to run the ball, and Pittsburgh doesn't give up 100 yards that often on the run game at all. So I like the Steelers on this one.
Yeah.
Is this a changing of the guard, so to speak? Is this where the Browns take over that division and Pittsburgh starts to slip a little bit?
I think if the Pittsburgh make it to the playoffs and go deep, I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl. I don't think we're going to see 2 out of 3 major name quarterbacks don't come back. Drew Brees and Big Ben. I think if the Steelers make a deep run in the playoffs, I think he's out. And if I'm Baltimore and Cleveland's playing this well with a coaching staff that I guess that people like, we've seen some bad coaches in Cleveland. If I'm Baltimore, I'm nervous more about the Browns than I am the Steelers, who's going to be, because everyone just handed the Ravens the division for a while with the way they've been playing. I think the Browns, if they continue to play like this, they could be a name in this division for a while.
Yeah, I would agree. Another interesting matchup. 2 teams coming off bad losses, especially the Bills. But the Chiefs-Bills game on Monday night, one of 2 Monday night games on my schedule here. But that's an interesting game. I think the Chiefs going to bounce back big time, although they're on the road in Buffalo. I think the Chiefs got to come back and kind of restamp their dominance.
Did you watch the Bills the other night?
I didn't watch the entire game. I caught the highlights afterwards. So go ahead.
Quarterback looks horrible for the Bills, man.
One game. He's had a really good season, though. I'm not going to be down on him.
I understand it's one game, but I'm just saying, like he just looked like he couldn't hit nobody. I don't know if his arm was bothering him or something, but like his throws to me looked like they were coming up short. He didn't have no zip on the ball, just like a team that was totally out of sync.
Yeah, and the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday looked the same. Mahomes didn't look the same. on Sunday. But you know what? The reason why I thought that Kansas City were in trouble right away, if you watch the Bears game on Thursday against Tampa Bay, what did the Bears do against Tom Brady early? They knocked him down. They got a 15-yard late hit penalty on Tom Brady in the first quarter, and that was probably the dictation of the whole game. Same thing with Mahomes. He got hit by the Raiders in the second quarter, right in the beginning of the second quarter, late hit, and he wasn't the same afterwards. If you're Buffalo, do the same thing. Knock them around. Get that late. You know, what's a big deal about a 15-yard late hit penalty in the first quarter? But you know what? Mahomes is going to realize that they still got 3 quarters. They're going to be pressuring me. And that's what the Raiders did. If I'm Buffalo, just watch that game. Kansas City and their betting fans had to eat a lot of crow after that game. And I think we saw a little bit how to beat Kansas City in that game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tom, but do you think that Mahomes, of all people, is somebody that you really want to take a chance of pissing off in the first quarter and hitting him really hard? I mean, this guy could end up lighting up the fucking game. You know,
but if you let him sit back there and feel, like he's in the field playing with daisies, he'll light you up there too.
His receivers are so fucking quick, bro.
Yeah, but knocking Mahomes down. But if you saw in that game, the offensive line coach was yelling at the offensive line pretty much the whole first quarter and third quarter because they weren't protecting him. Now, I'm not telling you to get mad at Patrick Mahomes, but I bet you that offensive line is going to get ripped up because they're not protecting him because you're letting him go free. Don't piss off Mahomes, but piss off the offensive line and offensive line coach.
I agree. I think it's a good move. Yeah, Jeff.
No. I yawned a little bit. I'm agreeing with him. I'm sorry.
Okay. Last thing for me, the strong division, one of the better divisions I've seen so far is obviously the NFC West. I mean, Seattle 5-0, suspect defense. The Rams surprisingly better this year. Arizona up and down. Again, I called it. The Niners, they're benching Garoppolo and coming back off the injury at halftime. I still want to see the team that loses the Super Bowl and rebounds for next year. While it's a strong division, is there a team that come out of that at this point that can make the series run?
I think the Rams came. Their defense, Donald. I felt so bad for Alex Smith. Here he comes back, and he has to go against the Rams, who got sacked 6 times. Just give him the comeback award after playing Donald and the Rams and getting sacked 6 times. Just who cares? Just give it to him now. But that Rams defense is no joke. I think I like them better than I like the Seahawks because I think playoffs is all about defense, and Seattle has no defense right now.
Yeah, see, I think Seattle's better offensively. It's definitely more consistent. And Russell Wilson, who I've never been a big fan of, but is playing lights out, they're much better offensively. But there's enough offense on the Rams and a much, much better defense. So I agree with you. I like that Rams team for the long haul than I do the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Donald's just a freak. I mean,
my God.
I haven't seen anyone like that since Lawrence Taylor.
Well, you know what? He's more to me Reggie White than he is LT, but I got you. He's that dominant. I agree with you. He is that dominant in that vein of Reggie White, LT. Oh, a scary guy. And I felt bad for Alex, but I'm watching and going, please just get up.
Yes. Me too. Yeah. I don't know Alex Smith, never met him, but I'm rooting for him because if you watch that 30 for 30 special on him, they were minutes away from chopping his leg off. Not hours, not days, minutes away of just getting the axe and chopping it off.
And what's funny, Jeff, here's Alex Smith. He was on the Niners team. He took them to the playoffs. He was good enough to be on that team and be their future guy, yet took Colin Kaepernick, who was a complete ass and I think an overrated quarterback, but he took him under his wing, got him to the point, and they got rid of him. And then he went to Kansas City, did the same thing for Mahomes. He has to be one of the nicest human beings, Jeff, and not a bad football player. And you just, I want him to lose this week if he gets in with because he's playing the Giants. But there's a guy you got to root for, Jeff.
Oh, listen, dude, without a doubt, like Raphael said, I didn't know that he was minutes away from his leg coming off. I know that he was close, and it was in consideration. And I think they gave him a little bit more time before, and it ended up working out for him. But the amount of surgeries and the pictures of what his leg looked like that I seen, and all the stuff that his wife did for him, I mean, you got to feel for the guy. Even if
he didn't have to come back. He's made tons and tons of money. I mean, I agree. Hats off to him.
Absolutely.
If that was me, I would never step foot on a football field again if there was another guy on the field. I couldn't care less where he was. Just, I'm not going to take a chance of this happening again. I'm
I agree.
on a football field.
Yeah, it's tough. But I do understand the point. You're that kind of athlete, and I think it's tough to go out that way. I think you want to at least. I don't see him playing past this year. I think he's get on the field, show you can do it, show you made it all the way back. But you're right; it's a tough decision, and hats off to him. And to come out in his first game and get completely rolled is scary.
Decided to fucking retire right now. How could you blame him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I made it back. That's it. I'm done.
Hey, Raphael, tell me about what. So last week you had a beg out. You had some stuff, and you came up with a prop that actually drew a lot of media attention. Tell everybody about that because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I did a prop bet for what's first all-electric pickup truck that's going to hit the market for consumers first. So that one got a whole bunch of car magazines, and actually even Elon Musk saw it and sent something to us that, hey, that was pretty cool. How did he get the information? So I had a lot of media stuff on that. So that's why I couldn't do the show last week because I didn't. Some stuff I put up and certain types of media, people wanted me to talk about it. That was probably one of the bigger ones that I had to do for that one. So that was kind of interesting. I just put up some CrossFit betting odds because the CrossFit games are this weekend. So if you want to watch people work out, you can see that. But yeah, it was an interesting week. But before I go and all that, I want to tell your listeners, this on Saturday on ESPN, if you don't like boxing or whatever, there's a fight on ESPN, not ESPN Plus, not ESPN pay-per-view. Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez are fighting on Saturday on ESPN. This Lomachenko is probably one of the prettiest, most athletic boxer I've ever seen in a ring, and I've seen a lot of people here in Vegas inside the ringside and all that. If you don't watch this fight, again, it's free. You don't have to pay for ESPN Plus or ESPN. It's free. It's going to be a fantastic, fantastic fight.
All right. Listen, guys, make sure you go to mybookie.ag. Check out the odds. Put your bets down. Have some fun with it. We noticed that what the odds are that Raphael would blow us off for bigger and better things. We found out those odds are pretty good, but we don't hold it against him, Jeff. We would blow ourselves off for bigger and better. So,
hey, the money came in my Venmo account. I'm like, oh, I got to do an email. I can't do this guy's show.
Well, we're very happy for you. We want everybody to go to mybookie.ag. If you're going to bet, please go there. It's a nice, safe place to do it. They have great. I'm on the site all the time. I get a kick out of all the different prop bets. So make sure you go out and support, and we'll have Raphael back in a couple of weeks to talk a little more sports along the way. But Raphael, man, brother, listen, thanks, man. It's been a blast. Sorry I kept you so long.
Oh, no, I love doing this show with you guys. I could talk all day sports and football with you guys. You guys are the greatest.
Thank you very much, guys. Raphael Esparza. He's the head odds maker down at mybookie.ag. Make sure you get out and support Raphael. Thanks, brother. We'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy.
See you later, man.
So, Jeff, it's me and you. We got a few more minutes. We can have some fun. Let's go to some music. Let's do a little music. I do want to try to get Mike Tyson in if I can. Did you see that Mike Tyson clip, by the way?
No, I did not.
Oh, I'll show it. We'll end the show with the Mike Tyson clip because you got to see it.
Okay, what is it? What is
you know what? Let me do it for you right now. Let me see if I can. I have it on our YouTube page, so let's see if I can bring that up for you. Let's see. Where is
now? He didn't fight Roy Jones yet, right?
No, it's sometime in November.
Now November it was pushed back.
It got pushed back in. When you see this clip, Jeff, hold on. Let me just close out the Blog Talk Radio.
Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And let me get our YouTube channel up. So when you see this clip, you're going to say if there's a reason why this fight got pushed back. So let me get the watch later thing here. Let me get that. Let's see. Good morning. No, let's see. Yeah, this is it right here.
Why do you
hold on. Let me now bring this up on the full screen. Let me get the share screen going. Pick it and share it. All right, Jeff, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
do this?
I just want to do this. I plan on doing this for a charity exponent, and I think I'm capable of doing that.
Keep watching.
That's what I want to do.
As someone personally who's rapidly approaching the age of 50, I would never cast aspersions on anyone's age. But there have been concerns raised about the fact that you are two men in your 50s fighting each other without protective headgear. What do you think about those concerns?
I think it's very wonderful that we're fighting together. The fight that we should have had sooner, but unfortunately we're having it now, and that's going to be awesome.
Mike, you've been putting out some pretty ferocious videos on Instagram showing you in training. They show you in fantastic physical shape, but also pretty scary and ferocious. How do you feel? Are you in the kind of nick that you were in 15 years ago?
Pretty much. I'm just ready to do this. It's ready. I feel really good. I'm ready to do this.
All right, Jeff. So, how scared? That fight should be stopped now. You know what I mean? That fight needs to get stopped right now.
I spent so much money over the years to talk like that. It was unbelievable. This guy looks like his fucking brain is made of oatmeal or something, man.
I mean, I've seen him interviewed recently in the last few months, and he seemed okay. And then I saw that, and I went, "Holy cow!" That he looked like he was falling asleep during the interview.
Oh, he was on something, man. I don't know if he was drinking or if he's on drugs or what, but I mean, Christ. I remember meeting up with Joey in his house and here's the cooler and it's filled with ice. Let's get to work. And like that an hour later.
Yeah, coming off of that, Jeff, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I almost hope the fight doesn't happen. I'm looking at the guy and I'm going, he's obviously on some sort of medication or some sort of, unprescribed medication, maybe that, but he just, I mean, the guy just wasn't even coherent. He looked like Joe Biden.
Oh, my God. Yeah. He's completely fucked up, man. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. So, I mean,
if he enters the ring that way and they allow that fight to happen, I mean, you're putting the man's life in danger. I'm sure between now and November, they'll be able to get him back down to the ground. So
I hope so. But that was I mean, here's the thing. If you're Tyson's guys, if you're his people, and he's got an interview to do, and that's in Britain, that's like a major, like that sounds like Good Morning America here. That's Piers Morgan. It's a big, huge show. If you see he's in that condition, why would you put him out there? Why would you even, tell him that he fell down a flight of stairs? Come up with, how could you let him go on TV like that?
Oh, I fucking agree with you 10,000%. You don't let him go on TV like that. And matter of fact, if you're in his camp and you find him like that, then you turn around and you tell him, say, listen, you're going to be within somebody's fucking reach from now to the day of this fight. What the fuck is going on?
Holy,
can't have you fucking sitting around like that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's scary that he's in that condition. More scary that somebody let him get in front of it. I mean, if you want to say Mike Tyson's made some questionable decisions in his lifetime, none of us are going to argue that point. I don't think he's in any condition at that point to fight with anybody. If you said, he goes, I have to do an interview. No, Mike, it was canceled. Great, I'm going to go lay down. I don't think it would have been too much of an argument at that point.
No.
I mean,
no.
And I can't imagine he's getting paid much money to do that interview. I would imagine it's for promotion for this fight. So I question not only Tyson, but I question whoever's handling Mike Tyson. They need to get funded. Maybe they should be coaching the Jets. I'm not sure.
I know that Mike is involved with legalized marijuana and grow farms or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he owns. I think he owns a bunch of businesses, doesn't he? Yeah.
But he must have smoked a palm the size of his leg to get in that condition. I mean, good God Almighty!
He bent over, and I thought he was sleeping. I said he fell asleep.
Yeah. I thought he was nodding out. Like as soon as he started to talk, I didn't hear about this. I knew nothing about this. Yeah. And as soon as he started to talk, at first I was like, "All right, the volume's low," and I leaned in. But then once I started hearing him, I'm like, "This guy's fucking gone. He's gone."
He is the true definition of baked and fried.
Yeah.
Holy cow! But it was scary. So I'm excited for that fight, and then I go, I can't even. I don't even know if I want to watch that. But I mean, listen, I'm sure they'll do another interview and he'll be on top of his game, whatever his game. But that right there either tells me he's got a mental problem, and maybe both, or he's got some sort of serious drug problem, because you just don't show up to do an interview.
Well, listen, either way, if he falls into either one of those categories and they allow him to go on with that fight, then the people that are handling him need to be taken away from him, and he needs to be safeguarded, because if it is indeed a mental issue, it seems to have come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
for him to be like that, and if he's, maybe if he's, had a tooth pulled or something, and he was under the influence of something, he was prescribed something, that's one thing. But if this guy's dabbling with certain things, and this is what he's like now, that's not good either, man.
No,
you can't go out there like that.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, Jeff. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I saw it this week, and I said I got to bring this up on the show. I mean, this is something we got to talk about. So
I would say,
I don't know how you passed that one up, but let's go to I want to bring something else up to you. Let's see if I can get this on the screen also, Jeff, for you, because I think this is a pretty cool story, which something I didn't know. I'm sure you probably knew as a big Sabbath fan, but maybe you didn't. Can you read that headline?
Yeah, but I did not know about this until this story actually came out. But to tie this into something we spoke about earlier, when I put that Facebook post up, one of the first people that were mentioned to fill the void was Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, Tony Iommi is the riff master and everything else, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest. He is not. Can you imagine Tony Iommi standing there playing a Russian? No.
And again, you know what? I don't even think it's necessary. Listen, you can look at guys like Malmsteen, maybe Satriani, some of those guys as really great guitar players. Guys who could probably play the stuff that Eddie played, maybe even stuff that's more difficult. I don't even know. I don't put them in Eddie's category. Don't get me wrong. But it's not about that. It's about not only being the player. Now I think Tony Iommi qualifies in a lot of levels. The problem with Iommi is the normal everyday person, the casual guitar rock fan might not know who Tony Iommi is. He's iconic to us in the heavy metal world, but he's not that guy that, God forbid the day comes Tony Iommi passes, it might be a blurb someplace, somebody might mention it, but it's not going to be what happened with Eddie. You had the question, I think it's the great one, and it could go a couple ways. Who's that guy that would stop traffic? And I'm not sure. Maybe it's Page. I don't think so. Is there that guitar player, Jeff, right now? New, young, old, who when he passes, everybody will stop?
Well, you know what, Tom? We don't know if there's a new guy, a young guy, that when the day comes, if he dies, everybody will stop doing what happened. But I'm looking at, to me, 3 influential metal and hard rock guitar players: Eddie Van Halen, Dimebag Darrell, and Randy Rhoads died. And has anybody else stepped up to the plate and taken their place? Steve Vai is, to me, does not fit into that category.
No, I agree with you.
Satriani does not fit into that category.
Nope.
Neither does Yngwie Malmsteen.
Nope.
Or Jeff Beck.
No, name recognition-wise, they don't fit. Name recognition-wise, they don't fit that way. You're right.
It's not even name recognition. They just don't play the same style of music. They're not the same player that those 3 were. And to me, I mean, George Lynch, he was a hair metal guy, but no, he's not. He's not the one to take the mantle over.
No.
Neither is Zakk Wylde. A lot of people that mention these people, but they're not them. Brian May, definitely not. Jimmy Page, definitely not.
See, now Brian May is an interesting one.
Brian May is. Does anybody name the last record Brian May put out?
No, I agree with you, Jeff. I'm saying this.
He put anything new out.
No, it's not even that. I look at it 2 ways. You had a great talk about who's the next guy, but I'm also taking it to another way and say who's the guy that when he passes people go, oh my God, I can't believe he's gone. And I'm talking in the Eddie Van Halen sense where, again, news. I'm watching college football games, and ESPN, I think it was, or ABC, were playing tons of Van Halen stuff, going into breaks and coming out of breaks. I'm watching Fox and CNN, and they're playing Van Halen stuff. I'm saying is, who is that guitar player, maybe even musician, let's say guitar player for now, that when, God forbid, the day goes and he passes, you'll get that same kind of reaction. I don't know who that guy is. I don't think that guy, young, old, new, around forever, I don't think that guy exists right now.
No, I don't think so either. Maybe, like you said last week, Paul McCartney is the only one that could possibly come close.
I agree.
Listen, did we think that they were going to play music and the stuff that they did for Neil Peart and Rush? So maybe Tony Iommi or somebody from Black Sabbath or, somebody from Iron Maiden, maybe Rob Halford. But you know what? Even Ronnie James Dio, when he died, they didn't do that for Ronnie James Dio.
Correct.
He didn't have that kind of recognition.
Yeah, again, I think maybe Ozzy because of the
Jagger, maybe
Mick Jagger and maybe Keith Richards, but I think that's more in the goof sense of finally, death finally caught up to him. But I think Ozzy's another guy who might get that reaction because of the pop culture part of it. Ozzy may be that guy when he passes, God forbid. Hopefully it's a long time from that. They're talking about booking Ozzy shows in 2022. How scary is that? Yeah. So, but I think Ozzy may be that guy that people may stop because not only because of the music end of it, and I think less because of the music. Honestly, I think it's more of the pop culture of the Osbournes and all the stuff that he does.
Persona of Ozzy Osbourne.
Huh?
The persona.
Correct. Exactly. I think he may be a guy that they may stop traffic for, but Eddie was special. But did you see the tribute that they did to him on the Billboard Music Awards?
I saw somebody posted on Facebook and I clicked on it. All I saw was a picture of the guitar with a light shining on it.
You know what?
Was that the tribute?
I don't even think that. I found the post, a couple of posts, and then I Googled it. And all I could find was basically about 45 seconds or a minute where Kelly Clarkson, who was hosting it, I don't watch any of those award shows.
Neither do I.
All right. Basically said, these are the people that died this year. She named Helen Reddy, Mac Davis, what's his name? Kenny Rogers, some rapper I never heard of. And then she said, and of course, Eddie Van Halen. And she did about maybe a minute. Great guitar player, innovative, blah, 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 blah. Played 2007, 2010, maybe. I don't remember. Van Halen came out and played and was lucky enough to come out and play with his son like he was touring with his son. It wasn't like he did that one-off. And that was basically it. There was no, music tribute. Now, again, it was only a few days before, 5 days. But to me, Jeff, Eddie Van Halen dies and you're the Billboard Music Awards. You got to get a band, somebody to go up there and play some, or at least play some clips. You got to do something bigger than they did that.
At this point in time, if I had to choose a way to honor Eddie Van Halen, okay, because I hear you, they didn't seem to do a very good job, but I wouldn't get a band together and tell the band go play something 4 or 5 of his songs, have a couple different singers come out. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do that. What I would do is just put together like maybe a tape thing with some of his songs, some performances, notable performances, and then end it where you could take his guitar like the picture that I saw and just leave it out on the stage with a light over it and just sit there for a minute and then let it fade out. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Something of that nature.
That would have been fine. I agree with you. But and to me, that would have been simple. You're 5 days before, you throw together a little video clip, you play the montage of different Eddie stuff, U.S. Festival, the time he was on the Billboard Music Awards, a couple of his famous solos. He played 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And then like you said, you fade it out with the guitar there. I think that would have been great to have Kelly Clarkson, or at the very least, have somebody, one of his peers, have Sammy Hagar, try to get Dave to come on and say and do a minute or two. You know, anything's better than having Kelly Clarkson, who you probably knows 5 songs and you know doesn't know anything about it, and she's the one giving. Come on, man, that's just bullshit.
Listen, I hear you, but you know what, Tom? Like, let me ask you something. Even if who is it that you get to do it? Is Alex Van Halen up to it, or does anybody even care what Alex Van Halen has to say? I don't think I've ever heard the man speak before.
Yeah, me either. Yeah.
So now you're talking about half the people love David Lee Roth, but you know he's David Lee Roth at this point in time, and half the people love Sammy Hagar, but Sammy Hagar is, you know, he's up there.
Yeah.
You know, like he really hasn't been on the same stage with Van Halen in years.
No,
he really
without before.
He has to say.
No, it's not a question of that, Joe Jeff, but it's, you know, let's hear from his peers. Like it would have been, you know, there was a ton of people on social media. I'm talking about just, you know, big name guys, you know, from Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley to, you know, Tony Iommi. You know, play a bunch of those clips, get a whole bunch of sound bites and have his peers, you know, say a bunch of nice stuff. I mean, put together 3 minutes. It's Eddie Van Halen. He's a once in a lifetime, once in a generation musician, guitar player. I mean, he changed music in a lot of in a big sense. You know, he's that big, and your whole thing is Kelly Clarkson for a minute.
I know, dude. I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? I agree with you. Who wants to hear from Sammy Hagar? Nobody. But if you're gonna eulogize and you're gonna pay tribute to, you know, there are certain people in the world. You know, God forbid something happens to Paul McCartney. You know, you better light up the world. I mean, this is a Beatle. This is a guy who's, you know, who's probably the greatest musician of our lifetime, of our generation, you know, of the last 2 generations. You know, you better pay tribute. And Eddie Van Halen is that guy. You know, in Billboard Music Awards, MTV, a lot of that's on the back of guys like Eddie Van Halen.
Of course.
You know, I mean, think about it.
I saw something today that Eddie Van Halen formed Van Halen in 1972.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So I mean, you know, like you always hear Van Halen, and I'm like, well, okay, 1980, but no, that wasn't the case.
No,
it was the late 70s that he actually, the first album came out, 77, 78.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
you know, so like when you think about it, you'd be like, holy shit, they were around and playing for almost 50 years.
Well, think about it. I mean, Simmons and those guys. You read some of some of the stories. You know, in '75 they were playing the Strip, and they were playing those songs and a little bit and a lot of covers. But he was doing what he was doing in '78 and '80 and in '75. Who was playing that type of guitar in '75, Jeff?
Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, whether he invented 2-handed tapping, and you know, you talk to guys like Jeff Watson of Night Ranger, which I don't know if you interviewed with me, but I interviewed, and he'll say, I was 8-finger tapping, and I don't really care. Jeff Watson's a good player, but he's not Eddie Van Halen, and I don't care if he invented it, if he wrote it. Eddie Van Halen's the innovator of that style of play. And
listen, Jeff Watson, please. You're lucky that we allow you to say the name Eddie Van Halen, much less compare yourself to him.
Yeah, and you've been a clairvoyant on this show, because you know I'm always, you know, this band's a good band, this new band's okay, you know, and you've been flat out saying, Tom, great, no problem, but where is the next big band? Where is the next, you know, Pantera? Where's the next Metallica? Where's the next Maiden or Van Halen? And you're 100% right. And you know, here's the thing. You know, where is that next influential guitar player? Like, where is that guy that just makes people stop and say, I want to play like that? And I spent the last few days like going, you know, checking sites and just listening to different people play, not for that reason, but, and there's nobody, Jeff. There isn't that guy who's in his 20s now where you go, that guy's special.
Well, no, of course not. There isn't. And you know, listen, I understand your point when you book people on the show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you were taking people and everything else, but it is what it is. And you know, other people were booking people on the show and like trying to sell them off as just like, well, you never know. You never know. You never know. But you did know that this wasn't going to happen. And when it comes to somebody special, that's just what it is. They're special. Okay? There's 1,000 guitar players. We can name them all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But who actually made people want to go pick up a guitar and play?
Yeah.
Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hendrix, yeah.
Hendrix,
Yeah.
okay, Steve
Page,
Vai, Joe
yeah.
Satriani. Come on, man. There's once in a lifetime a couple here and there that really stand out.
Yeah.
Do something that nobody else has done, and that's what Van Halen did.
Yo, you're 100% right. Let me ask you a question. I thought about it today, and I want to ask you the question. Give me your top 5 active, or let's say, people who are alive today, guitar players. Just give me the guys that maybe you'd say I love to hear when this guy plays. Who would be your top 5 of people? Just they don't even have to be active. They're just still alive today.
That are alive.
Yeah, you got to go alive because I know Dimebag's going to be on it. I know Eddie's going to be on it. I get that. Talk to me about the guys who are around today. That if I said to you, Jeff, give me 5 guys that you'd want to have on the show. Guys you want to listen to still, no matter what.
Maybe James Hetfield, even though he doesn't play solos, he plays rhythm for Metallica.
Okay.
Maybe Dave Mustaine.
Okay.
Notice I'm saying maybe.
I got you.
Maybe Tony Iommi. Well, definitely, I would love to hear with Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, you know what? You already did everything you need to do. You don't need to do anything else, man. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like, just sit back and relax and rest. You deserved it. You gave us enough.
Yeah.
Like I'm not into Yngwie Malmsteen. I'm not into Nuno Betancourt or Satriani. George Lynch at one time, I would say George Lynch, but I don't know what he's up to as of late.
Yeah.
I don't think I can name 5 without naming maybe Alex Lifeson, out of respect for what he did over the years.
Good one.
I don't know. That's 4. I don't know if I could come up with a 5th one. I'll throw Kirk Hammett in from Metallica.
Yeah.
Just so that we got 5.
It's an interesting point. And again, none of those guys, none of them are innovative. They're all good players. A couple of those guys I wouldn't even consider maybe lead guitar players.
Keep going. Keep going. I got to step away for a second.
Yeah, I think that today's players, while they're good players and you love the bands and some of them, but there's not a guy out there you say he's changed, he's revolutionized, he's done something different. And maybe Satriani, I don't know. He's a guy maybe he's done some things. Malmsteen, but I think Malmsteen's completely, amazingly talented, but it all just sounds the same to me. It all just sounds the same. And after a while, I can't listen to that stuff. They can't play in bands where they're singers and although Satriani's done it with Chickenfoot, and I love the stuff he's done with Chickenfoot, so I'll give him that. But most of these guys, it's just noise and different effects, and I got no time for it. So guys, Hard Rock and Sports, we're gonna be winding the show down now. Make sure you come back next week. Ross the Boss, big Mets and Giant fan, will join Jeff and I. Again, Tommy John coming up. Jeff Westlake from Hydrogen, him and Holly, I think their new singer, will be joining us shortly on the 29th. Again, the big election's coming up. I got Sleepy Joe, Creepy Uncle Joe, hanging up on the screen here. Not that I'm listening to it, but he's on there talking to 6 people. I don't know if that's how it's booked, but whatever. Interesting. We'll keep that up to date. But to finish up this music topic, it's hard. There's some guys that I like to listen to, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same without Eddie. And again, listen, I'll say the one knockout, Jeff. I'll give Eddie. And again, I don't want to knock the dead, but the one thing I would say about Eddie is he might have been such a genius that he got in the way of his own talent, in the sense I would love to have heard more stuff. I really wanted to hear. Now, again, the last album was okay. It was good. It wasn't terrible. But there was just too many lapses in the years where there just wasn't enough Van Halen material. If you watched it, there's a thing I found from MTV from like 1989 or something, where he had this whole wall full of like hundreds and hundreds of songs. And he said, I pulled this one out and it turned out to be this song. Put out more. Why did we not get more Van Halen music?
I saw that clip too,
You did.
It was like
Kurt Loder. I think Kurt Loder was interviewing him.
ladder on it.
Yeah,
You had
yeah.
him up there, yeah. The only thing that I could think of and figure out is that this is his stuff, and at this point in time, anybody could take his stuff and splice it together and everything else. And this is why I kind of don't want this stuff to come out.
I agree with you.
Because is this what Eddie would have wanted out? Is this what he would have said?
Yeah.
You know what? This is ready to go. I feel comfortable bringing this out and giving this to people. It didn't make it out for a reason.
Yeah, I agree.
It didn't make it out for a reason, and I just don't think that. I think that should be, maybe there's some live recordings that we could take out, or maybe some demo tapes of some songs that were already recorded, like Unchained. Imagine a demo tape of Unchained or something.
That would be fine. I agree.
Like that. But like as far as a new tape and this one's boot on the throat or whatever, so to speak, and this is what Eddie wrote, and it was never finished, but this is what he wrote, and it's like I don't want to hear that.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I agree with you, but I think it will happen. I think Wolfie will definitely, somewhere in the future, will put out some Van Halen stuff that we never heard. But would it interest you? Because it just now in my head it would interest me. What if they took some of Eddie's tracks, something that maybe he was working on or had in the vault, and Michael Anthony came in, played a little bass, and Alex put the drums, and they put out a couple of songs or an album of unreleased stuff, kind of a Van Halen 4 type of thing. Could you take it? Could you wrap your mind around that and say it is Eddie's guitar? It is the Van Halen guys getting in behind it and playing. It's got to be Dave. It's got to be Dave. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Dave can't sing.
I agree with you, but if it wasn't Dave, you couldn't do it. No, I agree with you. He sucks. He talks.
I wouldn't want to hear it. I listened to the song "Tattoo" the other day. Remember that song?
Yeah, I love that song.
Okay, it's not.
It's got a good melody.
Not a terrible song.
Yeah.
But after listening to some older Van Halen, and then all of a sudden listening to that, it's like, you know what? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that song. That song is like subpar. I don't want to hear that.
But I want to say that it's either that song or another song off that album where Eddie says, "You heard the song? Yeah, it's a good song. Yeah, I wrote that in 1983." He said, "That song's been in a shelf since 1983. And I broke it out and we finally put it on. We finally did it and put it out." So I wonder if there's a gem in there. But I said, listen, I don't, and I think Wolfgang Van Halen's a great musician. I obviously the Bloodlines and all that. I don't want to hear an album of him coming out and doing his father's stuff or playing to his father's stuff. If it's the Van Halen guys and you did 10 songs on an album, I would give it a listen. I think it would be interesting to see what Eddie wrote that didn't make it that maybe should have made it. I think that would be fun. But I also the same. Let's agree with you. I almost would rather it stay hidden and not know about it.
See, that's the thing to me. If you're saying that off of the last album, they wrote a song from the early 80s and it just made it onto this album in the 2000s, that to me means that Eddie knew what he had and where it was. And then he was just like, you know what? This just isn't worthy to go on anything. They didn't put out that many records.
Which I think is a shame, but go ahead. Yeah, you're right.
It is, but they did what they did with Dave. They did what they did with Sammy. Then they had Gary Sharon.
Yep.
And then they just fucking disappeared. And nothing for years. Okay? and you would think that, like, well, how come he never just came out and put out a solo album? Even if it was an instrumental. And just put out a solo album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think he was into the gimmicky things, the solo albums, or working with other people. I've seen a bunch of clips, and he basically says, we're a band, and when you play in the band, you play with the band, and you practice with the band, and you record with the band. And I think he was very loyal to the Van Halen name. I mean, listen, his brother's in it. His son wound up in it for the last 10 years.
You could still play with your brother, and you could just call it Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and have a different bass player and a different singer come in on a couple different songs or whatever. You just don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. My problem is, would I have looked at a band with Eddie Van Halen in it, not called Van Halen and thought of it the same way. I think that might have been a tough one. He's one of those guys who just identifies with Van Halen because he's Van Halen. I mean, so could he have joined Chickenfoot like Satriani did and blended in as a guitar player? Not been Van Halen. I wouldn't have sounded like anything else. But like Joe Satriani plays with Chickenfoot, it's Joe Satriani, but it's not quite his normal sound. Could you have put Eddie in another band, Jeff, and changed his sound, and would it have just sounded like Van Halen?
I think he would have sounded like Van Halen. I don't think that you would have been able to put him in any other environment to play.
That's the point.
Not have it sound like anything else other than what he was doing. But if he was to do his own thing,
right?
Let's face it, Van Halen with Sammy sounded way different than Van Halen with Eddie.
I agree with you.
With Dave.
I agree. It's
almost like
very commercial.
Two different bands out of it. And then the Gary Sharon stuff was horrible from what everybody says.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that in years, but yeah, that was not good. I didn't find that to be good stuff. The Dave, the Sammy stuff, I was always disappointed in. It's not terrible. There's some good commercial stuff, but I the one thing I disagree with Tony on, and I wasn't going to argue with him on his birthday, and he's was mourning, but to me it just after as Jump happened and Diver Down, it kind of got a little different for me. I mean, the early stuff is just raw and just amazing, and not that he changed to be a bad player. It just it got a little too commercial and it tried too hard to be not Van Halen. If you know what I mean.
Well, you know what? You got to think the first album was probably a perfect 70s album.
Oh,
the look of the band, the style of the music, and everything else. Van Halen 2, very underrated album. I feel.
Yeah,
I think it's a great album. My personal, I like it better than Van Halen 1.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that one. I would, if I had to pick my favorite album, that might be my favorite album.
Women and Children first.
Good album.
A little different than Van Halen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Great album. And then I believe was Mean Streets.
Mm-hmm.
Then was it Dive It Down in 1984, I believe?
Where does Fair Warning jump into that?
Well, that's what I meant when I said Mean Streets.
Mean Street was Fair Warning, right? Yeah. Then I think it's Dive It Down and then 84.
Something like that. Yeah. Something like
that's
that.
Where the change went. That's where the change went. He started to get a little commercial and poppy.
Think of how they went from Fair Warning to Dive It Down.
Yeah.
Two completely different albums.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100% completely different.
But when you listen to it, you're listening to Van Halen as soon as you hear the guitars.
Of course, and that's the problem with him going to a solo album or let's call it the one of those mega bands. It's still going to sound like Van Halen because no matter, it's like when we listen to Geezer Butler's solo albums or with him with other bands, it still sounds like sounds a lot like Black Sabbath because his bass sound is not changing and it sounds just like it did when he played with Sabbath.
Yeah,
so that's the same with Eddie.
To a point, yeah. But Eddie's more distinct sound.
100%, yeah.
And I think that if Eddie was to play, let's say Eddie decided to do a side project.
Okay.
I bet you that his guitar sound would be different.
Oh,
I can't see him coming to bat with the same guitar sound. Van Halen. I just don't see it.
I don't know. Listen, like I said, Satriani, when he plays with Chickenfoot, sounds a lot different than when he does by himself. So you're probably right. Question is, here's a guy who went out of his way, created his own guitars, amps. I mean, really, if you look at it, I mean, took parts in this to create a certain sound. I can't imagine that he would go to another band and change that sound. He worked his ass off his entire career to come up with what he would consider the perfect sound. I just can't imagine going to another band and changing that. You know what I mean?
Perfect sound for Van Halen.
For him.
For him, yes, in Van Halen. You don't know. The only time that he did something different was with Michael Jackson.
And he sounded the same.
But it was also in the early 80s.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What Fair Warning had just come out or didn't even come out yet?
I don't think it was even out yet. Yeah.
Between Fair Warning and Dive It Down and then he fucking lays that solo down. I mean, who knows, dude? I don't know.
We have no idea. But listen, again, I think there was a lot of great tributes online. I think a lot of celebrities, a lot of people did the right thing. I'll just say I thought the Billboard Music Awards dropped the ball on this one. They could have did a much, 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 much better job of paying tribute. And I would have liked to have seen. I've seen it in the past. I know the COVID era is tough, but I would have liked to have seen some of the bigger name musicians get together and do some sort of an all-star tribute. I know they did it for Dio. They've done it in the past for other musicians. Maybe they will down the line, but I think an Eddie Van Halen tribute is warranted and needed, and I hope somebody does it, Jeff.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yep.
But, listen, we can only hope. But with COVID bullshit going on, and then it looks like we're going in the wrong direction now.
Yeah,
the cooler weather's getting here, and they're saying that the possibility of it spreading and all this other bullshit, and who the fuck knows? We may never ever see any kind of tribute to Van Halen. And if that happens, maybe we're better off, because when we just talked a couple minutes earlier that who's the next round of up and coming guitar players and musicians, well, who are you going to get to play this stuff?
Well, I mean, listen,
Sevenfold. I mean, come on.
No, I mean, but listen, I've seen Stevie Brown from Trix, who I'm not a huge fan of anymore, but I saw him play Van Halen stuff. He did a great job. There's some guitar players who can do it justice. Nobody's ever him. Nuno, I would love to see Nuno Betancourt get out there and play some Van Halen stuff live. I mean, I think that guy's phenomenal. I mean, there's a few guys I'd love to see do this stuff, and I would love to see them do something like that. But nobody's ever going to be Eddie Van Halen. Nobody's ever going to be that, have that sound. And listen, you know what? I realized after Eddie passed how much I really loved Eddie Van Halen and his music. I kind of forgot to a certain point, and I kind of tried to pay my own tribute. I bought some Van Halen stuff. I haven't received anything yet, but I think Eddie, for me, just reminds me of a point in my life where it was a big change. Where I went from listening to Blondie and the Cars, like I told you, to hard rock being Van Halen, and then AC/DC made and all that. But so I think Eddie kind of hit home for me. I think it was kind of a nexus of my life.
Yeah, of course, for a lot of people, not just you, a lot of people.
Yeah, so but listen, it is what it is. We move on. We won't forget. Eddie on this show will I'm sure periodically things will come up and we'll play it. I'm curious, and I will guarantee you, Jeff, that somebody down the line, and probably be Wolfie, but maybe Alex and Wolfie, maybe the band, will reach into the archives, find some Eddie stuff, and put it out there. Whether they do it just his guitar playing, whether they try to put the whole pieces together and Frankenstein an album, I'm going to guarantee you at some point you're going to hear the archives of Eddie, guaranteed.
Yeah, time will tell, and we'll see what happens. Right?
Yep. All right, let's wrap this up. It's been a fun show, long show. Lots of people. Again, thank you to my dad, and happy birthday, Dad. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow night. Dad's coming over for some Chinese food tomorrow night. We'll be hanging out a little bit. So
Chinese food today. You got to get shrimp and peppers and garlic sauce.
Shrimp and peppers and garlic sauce. I'll bring that up tomorrow night. See if that's could be on the menu. I'll give it a shot. But guys, lots of football this weekend. We got extra games coming up for this weekend. So make sure you get out to have some fun. Weather's going to be rainy. It's going to be a little cold. A lot of good college games. Jeff, Saturday night, Alabama, Georgia is a must watch. It's a good football game. There's a couple other games during the day that if you're sitting around the house on a rainy day, or you go down to the bar and have a burger with the wife. How was your wife's trip, by the way? Did she have a good time?
She had a good time. It was nice for her. It was happy that she got to go and visit her daughter. She hasn't seen her in a while, so she was happy about that. And I mean, listen, we missed her here, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was nice and quiet, and it is what it is. We got to do some things we don't normally get to do, and eat some stuff that you might have frowned upon. But that's me and Basil. That's what happens with me and Basil stays with me and Basil.
There you go. You guys roll a different way. But well, welcome back, Sharon. Glad to have you back again, guys. Hard Rocket Sports. We're here every Thursday night. Horst the Boss next week. The week after, we got Jeff Westlake and Holly from Hydrogen. Tommy John the following week. Check out Hard Rocket Sports for an update on all of that. Thanks again to my dad. Thanks to Chris Bizignano. Thanks to Louis Pica for setting that up. Thanks for Chris for not siding with me and making me look stupid in front of Jeff, which Jeff used to anyway.
What happened to the other? Wasn't there supposed to be somebody else tonight?
There was supposed to be a singer from the band Every Mother's Nightmare, but for some reason, his people thought that it was next week, even though they confirmed it on Monday. But I was okay with not having it. I got to be honest with you, and I got a feeling they might fall off the roster for next week. But time will tell. We'll see what kind of week next week is when I get there. So that's what happened to Rick Ruhl from Every Mother's Nightmare. For some reason, Monday was okay, but for some reason today they said, no, we thought it was the 22nd. Why would we have confirmed it on Monday? But thanks to Rafael Esparza for coming on, giving us almost an hour. Had a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun to have on, Jeff.
Yeah, he's warming up a little bit. I think it took him some time.
Yeah.
But, he's pretty cool with certain things.
Absolutely. A lot of fun to have somebody, kind of be in between, kind of almost an arbiter with us sometimes. But thanks to Rafael for coming on. Thanks to, again, Chris Bigsandano, Louis Pica, everybody who listened on Facebook and kind of made some comments. Thank you very much. And again, unless Jeff's got something to say, guys, I want you to enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Elections 19 days away. Make sure you get out and vote. So do your research, folks. Do your research. Do your homework. Make it an educated vote. Whatever way you go, just make it an educated. That's all I can ask. But guys, enjoy your weekends. Jeff, you want to end with anything?
Yeah, man. As far as the election goes, right?
All right.
Things. As far as the election goes, I don't know who to vote for. Okay, I just don't like either candidate. I'm looking for a third candidate. Is it true that Kanye West is on the ballot this year?
Well, Kanye was trying to get on. He was running in the birthday party. Yes, he was on the birthday party. I know he was having a hard time getting on the ballot because he got in late. He did make it onto some states, but not all the states. You can obviously write Kanye in. I think he died off when he had like a nervous breakdown. So
come on, man. This is the man right here.
So, but part of me thinks that Kanye ran because he's a big fan of Trump and they're very good friends. But some people think that he ran or is running or whatever his status is to draw votes, the black votes away from Biden. And I wouldn't doubt that as a strategy. So
it's possible, but I don't think that he's going to get that many votes.
Yeah, I don't know. But listen, even if you got a couple thousand here and there, there were states, Jeff, that were basically decided on less than 10,000 votes. So if Kanye were to go in and steal 10, 15, 20,000 people out of a state, which is not impossible, the guy's got millions of fans, he could sway an election. I mean, but it's happened. That's happened the last time when Jill Stein ran. She stole votes from Hillary, and that probably cost Hillary the election. So it ain't crazy. All I'll tell you is, Jeff, I know you hate Trump for a lot of reasons. Just do the homework. I can send you something that can show you a couple hundred different things the guy's accomplished while he's been in office for 4 years that you go, wow, I didn't know that. I know that. So do your research. Right. I'm sure you'll make the right decision.
I don't know that, but I got to be honest with you, Tom. It really doesn't matter who the president is. Mm-hmm. My life gets a little bit better every year, but I make that happen for myself.
And everybody does.
A lot of different ways.
Absolutely.
So I don't have enough money for whoever the president is to really take advantage of it, and I'm not poor enough that no matter who the president is, that I get to take advantage of it. We are the middle class. We are the grease, so to speak, and that's all there is to it. You know what I mean?
I got you, but here's the one thing I will tell you. If you look at what's happened in New York, California, where you have a certain takeover of our, what we talk about, our liberties, I think you'll see a lot more of that under Joe Biden because states know that there's no ramifications. At least Trump will fight it. He will fight them. He will keep them from things. So again, do I think it'll affect you in the pocketbook, Jeff? Probably not. You'll lose a few dollars if he takes out the Trump tax cuts. You'll feel a couple bucks a week. It ain't going to end you. It ain't going to ruin your day probably. But I think from a standpoint of what will happen in life, I think you got to pay a little more attention to the fact that Biden is basically a figurehead, and all these Democrats, all these different groups that are running wild in the streets right now, to a certain extent, that are at somewhat at bay, will have nothing in their way, and a lot of things that we take for granted, we're going to lose. So I got you. It's not going to affect you, but I promise you, if you pay attention to it, you'll notice that there's no way in the world anybody should vote for Joe Biden. He's not going to be president of the United States.
Oh, don't listen, dude. I'm not saying that he is the
Yeah.
answer. Get me wrong. Okay, well, I've said it more than once. It's definitely a bad place to be in. But to me, I just to the point with both of them that I just can't willingly go into a booth and pull down the levers on either one of those sides and just say I'm going to go Biden on down, Trump on down. I've thought that Trump was an idiot from when my wife used to watch The Apprentice.
Sure.
And I was
Me
like,
too.
that fucking idiot. I don't want to sit and watch this jerk off. Biden, he's just too old. Even if he does the right thing, he's just too old.
Yeah.
Just too old. That's all there is to that.
Agreed, Jeff. Don't, again, like I said, just take one night when you're sitting around, Google it. I can send you something, but Trump, the one thing is, I agree with you. You guy's an ass, 100%. But he came in and said, I'm going to cut taxes. He said again, as he said just now, I'm going to cut middle class taxes again next time. Again, promises kept, promises made, promises kept. He's the one guy in my lifetime who said, here's what I'm going to do. You can like it or dislike it, but this is what I'm going to do when I come in. And I would tell you that if he made 10 promises, 8 to 9 of them, he's kept one way or the other. Some people liked it, some people didn't. So the one thing I'll tell you is he's done what he said he's going to do. He had the best economy this country's ever seen, maybe in the world. And I think the guy could do it again. And I just can't vote no matter how big an ass he is. I can't vote for Biden and Harris. That's just a disaster waiting to happen.
No, I hear you.
So at least Trump, you could say he's been successful. For 3 years, he ran the country. There's a lot of problems, a lot of issues. People didn't like this and that. But at the end of the day, what's it about? Law and order and money. And on both of those, the guys have done a good job. Nobody messes with us in the world. You have seen nobody come after us. It's Biden opens the door to China, opens the door to a lot of these countries taking advantage of us. So be careful. Vote whatever way you want. I just say just spend 5 minutes to do the research. Again, I could send you a piece of paper with a list of all the things that's been accomplished in just 4 years, and it'll blow your mind. But again, that's just my take. So, we got a couple of weeks for you to make a decision. Like, good. Go in there and write in Eddie Van Halen's name. You can.
I don't think he's going to do such a good job.
Well, again, some people just say I won't vote for either one guy. I'm going to go right in for somebody else. Either way, vote. That's the best thing you can do.
I put my own name in, man.
There you go.
Say I got one vote for president in my lifetime.
There you go. Listen, I told you 4 years ago I would have voted for you. I didn't like either one. I wasn't crazy about either one, but I chose to hook my wagon to Trump because I wasn't going to vote for Hillary, and Trump did not let me down.
A lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, so let's see. But anything else you want to end with?
No, man. No. Other than that, I feel as though that our official moderator, Giants beat writer, backed me up a little bit more than he backed up the Giant fan.
No,
man.
listen, 100%. I have to bow because you won. If this was a debate, you went home with the victory. There's no doubt in my mind. You went home. Chris is a Giant fan. He's also a Giant beat writer, and I would say on 7 out of 10 topics, he agreed with you. So you have every right to smile. I have not changed my opinion on the team, but if we were putting up points, you walked out the W. And that's all that matters to you. I get it.
And right now, yeah. Half of the reason I do this and say this is to try to help you to see the error of your ways. And even with a fucking expert, somebody that writes about them, and you're still like, no, I don't think. No, they're a bad team. He says they're a bad team. No, I see signs of progress.
I do. I think
get out of here.
You guys are not going to beat me down. I'm going to stick with it. And you know what? We'll do this every week for the next 10 years, maybe. But I will always give my opinion and my feeling. And I'm not swayed by others. I make my own mind up, and I did tonight. But listen, I am the first to admit when I lose, and I will be a gracious loser. And Jeff will take the trophy home this time, and maybe next time I will get a shot at the trophy.
See, the thing, though, is just there is no trophy. It's not about a trophy because you're not even going to come close to a trophy until some things get taken care of.
I'll agree with that, but I do like the way this team's headed, and I'm excited for Sunday's game.
But
And
they're headed is to 0-6.
maybe it's possible. It's possible. And if we get the W, you're going to say, who'd you beat? So I can't win either way with a W.
I mean, come on. If they beat the Redskins,
There you go.
like they went out and beat the fucking Seahawks or something.
Again, all I said was it doesn't matter if they win or lose this week. Nothing's gonna change in your mind. They could play the greatest football game. Jones could be 30 of 30 for 700 yards, and you're gonna go, yeah, but it's against the Redskins. So I can't win this week, no matter what happens.
Come on. You know you would say the same thing if it was about the Jets.
No, obviously, unlike you, I am an honest appraiser of talent. And I was very high on things with the Jets. I was high on Gase, and I was completely wrong. I was not high on Donald. We were both in the same camp together. So, I call it as I see it. Unfortunately for you, you see things through, black colored glasses. You don't see things right.
I don't see things right.
Yep.
I don't see things right. Okay.
Nope. So back to the text tomorrow morning because I'm not going to genuflect like Chris did. Maybe Chris was feeling bad for you. I don't know.
I doubt that. Guy has inside information.
Yeah, listen, he's an insider. That's why he works for the Giant Insider.
Hey.
And Basil popping in.
So, yeah, Basil popped in to see what's going on.
All right. Well,
All right. There you go. Go ahead. Go lay down over there.
All right, well,
I think she's got to go to the bathroom. That's why Sharon's probably dead downstairs.
all right, well, let me let Jeff off the air. Guys, Hard Rock and Sports, we'll see you next Thursday night, 6:30. We might see you Sunday for 9 to 10. We'll let you know. But listen, for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rock and Sports, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you next time on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Jeff, brother, great show.
Later, man.
See you, brother.